number on screen as well. I can give you several reasons as to why you're wrong. Speaking of, with a YouTube line, tell me why I have missed calls from 12 in the afternoon today. I don't know if people legitimately think I'm just going to answer the phone during my free time, or they're watching my old lives actually believing that it's a current live. I don't know anymore. Anyways, Red Hat Latino, did you vote for Trump?
Yes, I sure did.
Sure did. And do you regret your vote?
No, not at this time.
Are you in the United States?
Of course. Why would you ask me that?
I just heard the accent, and of course, people with that accent could be inside the United States, clearly, but I was just curious. Your
Are you an
username
ICE agent?
implied that
You seem to be profiling me
you would do
based on an
something
accent.
else. Yeah, I'm just asking
You
questions
work for
based off your
ICE.
accent because I have a ton of people come up here who do not reside in the United States, and that would be a fruitless conversation.
Well, it's just you did the same thing ICE does, right? But that's all right.
Yeah.
What's your question for me?
So I quote unquote profiled you so I can ensure that you're the right
That's right.
demographic of people that I should be speaking to for political discussion about American politics. When ICE profiles you, it's to discriminate against you, to lock you up, to potentially disdain you and violate your due process rights. That would be the
So you think
difference.
profiling is good in some way, right?
My guy. Yeah, sure. For the necessity
Okay.
of speaking
Fair
about
enough.
American politics, where
Sure.
the consequence isn't that person's rights being violated, it is necessary. We have to profile for many things. If you're applying for American benefits, you have to prove citizenship to ensure that you are an American citizen getting said benefits. That's how that works.
That's right. I agree with that. So what's your question for me?
Yeah. Do you regret your vote?
Absolutely not.
Why is
I
that?
think he's doing well, I think his immigration stance is actually pretty good, right? Wouldn't you agree with me?
No.
So you think having more people leave the country than come into the country is a bad thing, huh?
The people that are well, more people aren't leaving the country first and foremost, nor would I think that would be a
Well,
positive.
that
Secondly,
well, that's incorrect, right?
most of it's detainments. The detainment rate under the Trump
No.
administration has skyrocketed versus deportations. He still hasn't really challenged Trump's Biden's deportation rate.
So are you counting the 2.1 million self-deportations, or is that a number that you like to
No,
ignore?
because that's not something we can substantiate. The Trump administration themselves can't prove that number.
How so? Where
How
do you think they get
so?
the number from?
That's a great question. I have no idea. You would have to ask
Right.
them because they have no data to support that claim.
So all right. So prior to the Trump administration, right? Let's say the Biden administration, if they had a number for self-deportations, would you believe that number?
No, because that administration wasn't doing self deportations.
So, well,
Do
nobody
you
does
mean if they
self-deportation,
were
right?
like
That's
like
the
if they did open up the floor to do
self-deportation is you
self-deportations
leave.
and we had a record of the
Well,
self-deportations, then I would believe it. If there's no record of it, then I have no reason to believe it. Especially from the administration that
well, so
has a well-documented history of lying their asses off.
you think so?
I know so.
I don't think that's true.
DHS specifically, yes. They're pathological liars. They lied to defend themselves.
Do you think that changed under this administration?
Aggressively, yes.
All right. Are you familiar with the CBP1 app?
Yep.
Right. So, is there a way to track self-deportations there?
No.
There is actually, right?
Is
Something
there?
created under this administration. Of course.
Okay.
How do you think these people self-deport when they get their check on the way out, right? As much as 2,600, I believe now,
No,
right?
that's where you
It's a
can
good amount of money
apply.
for most
That's where
people.
you can apply for
Right.
self-deportations.
Right.
There's no
No,
record of the amounts
actually.
of people who are actually self-deported. That's what I'm saying.
So you don't think we have a record of giving people this money to leave the country, right? You think that doesn't
No,
exist?
I've seen no record to my knowledge. Do you have a record?
Well, I mean, you're not privy to that data, right? You're not a federal employee specifically under DHS, so you wouldn't see that, right?
No, it's not about
But
just
but to
being a
say
federal
that we're not
employee
tracking that,
specifically. This would be information that could be put out to
excellent.
the public. This is something you can request from FOIA. This is something that many of our independent
A
media outlets
FOIA.
could report on. No different from they reported on the deportations, the detainment numbers, and everything else.
Okay, so nobody's denying. Like, if you go an article to CNN or something like that, right? They do report the self deportation numbers that we're mentioning here.
They
You don't
report
think
on what the
as
Trump
journalists are
administration
doing their due
claims.
diligence,
Again, what I
right?
said
Right,
specifically
but
is
they're
we
also quick
have the
to.
detainment
Okay,
numbers
go ahead.
and then we have deportation numbers. We actually have reports that reflect that. Do you have a report from the
Right.
government that actually shows the self deportation numbers? Proven specifically because we would be paying these individuals $1,000 a head, correct? Upon successful
Upwards of
self
2,600 really
deportation.
depends.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't
Right.
know if that was ever like if they ever went through with it and what was the circumstances, but it was minimum $1,000. So we would have the reports, we would have a budget for this, right? It would be reflected in our funding.
Right. So
We had
I
don't
can
have
tell
that,
you this much.
to my
Well, I
knowledge.
have some here, right? If you allow me a second, right? So there is an ABC News article that says that, according to them, immigration court data, right? So court records show voluntary departures ordered by immigration judges rose from 800 a month to near 8,000 per month as of February 2026. This is court data that they're pulling up, and I can
Court
give you
data.
that article if you'd like to read it. Right,
You said
right.
according to
Do you
court
take that
data.
as well?
Sure. What's the name of the article?
That's right, which is not the executive branch, right? It's not DHS anymore, right? Balance of power and all. So, would you take that as evidence or not? Or you think the courts are also lying?
What's the name of the article?
So the article recognized of immigrant
You're breaking
now
up.
ending voluntary
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
the ABC. Sorry about that. Can you hear me better now? Yeah,
Yes.
is that right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So record number of immigration cases now ending in voluntary departure. Report says abcnews.com.
Record
All right, and this is
deportation
from the right.
numbers
Correct.
now ending in
Welcome back, everyone.
Yep, that's right.
May 12, 2026.
That's right.
Okay. Immigrants are giving up their claims in immigration court and opting to voluntarily leave the U.S. in exponentially higher numbers under the current Trump administration's immigration crackdown than at any time previously reported. Previously, according to a new report based on federal data, the report by the Vera Institute of Justice shows that the number of people in removal proceedings receiving voluntary departure decisions has risen dramatically, particularly among those held in federal detentions. To 3/4 of U.S. states and territories, the number of voluntary departure decisions increased more than fivefold since the end of Biden's term. I don't know how can there be since the end of Biden's term if they weren't doing voluntary departures like that, but whatever. Voluntary departures in immigration
Well, of course
courts
they were.
in which a formal request to depart the country is approved by a judge, assuming the requester is legally permitted to leave, is different from self-deportations arranged through the Department of Homeland Security, in which migrants inform DHS they're leaving the country in order to avoid potential detention or removal. The report's co-author told ABC News that while the number of voluntary departures is rising, it does not necessarily mean people want to leave the U.S. Yeah, well, we know that much. Hold on. So this is separating the voluntary departures from the self-deportation. So we'd be talking about two different things here. And I just want to double check this at the beginning of the
What's the
article.
difference with voluntary
Immigrants
departure
are giving up
and
their claims.
self-deportation?
Immigrants are giving up their claims in immigration court and opting to voluntarily leave the U.S. And this would be based off of what we'd have reflected in court data. Many of these people have
Right. Well,
legal
that's also considered a self-deportation.
avenues to remain in the United States. Voluntary departure decisions do not mean that you do not have the legal rights to remain. People are under harsh conditions and making very difficult decisions. According to the report, voluntary departures surged from roughly 800 per month at the end of the Biden administration to more than 8,800.
Right. So is that not a self-deportation? Are they not choosing to deport themselves? Yeah.
Yes, it can be a self-deportation, but in the way that we're tracking it by
Right.
how it's defined under DHS with Donald Trump's self-deportation, where the reward you're getting paid is $1,000 per self-deportation. Voluntary departures is something that we've already had in the courts, right? This is a thing we were doing long before Donald Trump. And the increase of those voluntary departures, which I guess you think is a good thing, does not necessarily reflect, A, as we just read in the article, that this person has does not have the legal standing to be here. They're more so leaving in fear, which is exactly the entire Democratic argument against Trump administration's policies. And B,
so when
they're
they
not
leave the country,
getting
what is it called?
paid to do this. We already went over this. Did you not hear what I said?
So Right. So you familiar with this code? The
You're breaking up again.
United States Code. You familiar with it? I apologize. Are you familiar with the United States Code? U.S.
What?
Code?
Which code?
8 USC 1229. Right. Tell me what it says about what a voluntary departure is. It's a deportation, right?
Sure.
It's the
Tell
same
me
thing.
what it says.
It's in our laws. So what you're saying is one and the same. Sure. So federal law authorizes the Attorney General to permit certain non-citizens to voluntarily
Which
depart the
section?
United States instead of receiving a removal order, subject to eligibility
Which section?
requirements and time limits, right? That is considered
Which section?
1229C to be exact. I just said it. 1229C.
You just said after asked 3 times. Yeah. So
My
1229.
apologies. I think there's a
section
connection
A
issue
in
here, to
1.
be honest with you.
There's section 2 in A.
I said C though.
C.
C. Yeah,
C.
that's right.
C. Is it 1C? Because here's notice to appear. A in general, that's 1. 2, notice of change in time and place of proceedings, where C would be centrist address files. There it was also going to be, whatchamacallit? E, certification of compliance with restrictions on... Which part are you reading?
It's just 3, man. Like it's under bond, 3 bond.
I'm literally...
What's it? It's just 3.
3 bond? Okay. So
Right, that's
3
what I said,
bond,
yeah? You
Rule of
see it?
construction.
Oh, I don't. Are you on the right one?
I'm on
So-
uscode.house.gov, USC
Right.
1229,
Perfect.
correct?
So it's 1229C, voluntary departure. Yeah. Is that what you got there?
1229C, voluntary departure.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So if you go down to number
A, notice to appear.
no, number 3.
B, exception. Send your address files, rules of construction, service by mail, prompt initiation of removal. Blah, blah, blah.
What
Hold
does
on,
it say
I'll
at
put
the
it up.
top? Effect as of when?
It
I think
said
you're in the wrong one. Yeah.
8 USC 1229, initiation of removal proceedings from Title 8, Aliens and
No.
Nationality.
So what does it say as far as the top? Like laws is in effect as of what date?
July
I think
28,
you're looking at something
2026.
that's old. Right. Okay. So let me share my screen. Yeah.
I will put it up on the screen.
Sure.
So, I have the big screen at least so you can see. USC 1229, initiation of removal proceedings. 1229, A, notice to
Right.
appear. So which section are you referencing?
So you've got to scroll a bit down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm clearly.
If you have it looks like you're on a computer, right? Just type in Control F and then just put the Attorney General may and you'll find it.
Okay. If you were literally going by section, you'd be able to tell me something else, but it's fine.
Well, I can't really see your screen, man. I think it has to do with my connection, to be honest with you.
Well, it's just kind of
Yeah.
blurry as it gets bigger. Let's see. Attorney General with a record address. Attorney General immediately with a written record. Attorney General shall create a system record. Attorney General shall provide for a list of persons who have indicated their availability to repress chrono bono. Attorney General from proceeding against an alien pursuant to
Yeah, you
1229A.
just put may.
May?
Like the Attorney General may permit, and then you should get the rest, yeah?
0. If we're on the same thing, I have the Attorney General may. 0 hits.
All right, so let's try this, yeah? 1229C, subsection A1, yeah?
Okay.
Maybe you can find it there. I can't see your screen right now, but
Sure. 8.
I can try to show mine, yeah?
1229C, subsection A.
Then 1, yeah?
Oh, well, that's why I said 1229, and then the C was important. Okay, cool. Now we should be on the same page. So 1229.
I'm sorry, man. I don't see your screen now, yeah?
Well, I just removed it because it was blurry. Lay it.
Right.
Let's see. Certain conditions, right? 1229C, voluntary departure.
That's right.
Okay. And then C here would be
so
waiver
that's
limitations.
considered a deportation, yeah?
And then C here would be waiver limitations.
Right. So just where it says voluntary departure, what you read
This
initially,
is
right?
so
When you
hard
pulled
for
it up
you.
on a Google search.
The Attorney General,
Do you
in
understand that's a
general, the Attorney
self-deportation?
General may permit an alien
Right.
voluntarily to deport the United States at the alien's own expense under this subsection, in lieu of being subject to proceedings under Section 1229A of this title, or prior to the completion of such proceedings, if the alien is not deportable under Section 1227A2 or Section 1227A4B under this title. What was the point of you making me go through all
Right.
that?
So the point is, you're trying to say that what the article says is not a self-deportation. Regardless
I
of which
literally
method they're using,
clarified
they're still
the
choosing to
article.
self-deport.
No, I literally clarified this. The self-deportation method and model under the Trump administration would require a payment. That's what they launched, correct? $1,000, and you said up to $2,600, depending
That's
on the
not true, no.
situations. Versus the regular proceeding, because this
So-
is all done through CBP1.
No.
Versus the regular proceedings that will require a court, right? And you giving up your status to be here, or asking a voluntary departure. That's what I said this
It's
entire
voluntary.
time.
Right.
You can say they're all self-deportations, but the methodology that the Trump administration specifically launched versus what was already existent in code are two different things.
Correct.
That's literally what I said this entire
Right.
time.
But the number is significantly high under the Trump administration, right? Why do you think that is?
Because the Trump administration is scaring the shit out of people.
Well, why is that? Why would you be scared if you're here legally, yeah?
Simple. Because legal people who are here legally were having their rights violated.
Right.
Being thrown in detainment
Such
centers.
as who?
They're being thrown in detainment
Right.
centers. They're having their documents challenged, and one as far was deported.
Which one
And
was
then
deported?
Americans,
Can
of course,
give me
being
some names?
Yeah, Kilmar.
Can you give me a name of who was
He had
deported?
a
Kilmar.
withholding of removal order that wasn't even expired yet before the Trump administration decided to launch a political attack against him and get him up out of the states. And he was able to then
Right,
remain in
so-
the United States when courts were able to determine that they quite literally was being politically vindictive towards him.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Was Kilmar deportable under our current immigration laws? Yes or no?
Under withholding of removal? No. Not
He
back to
was
the place
actually
they
the only
originally
place he
sent him
wasn't
to.
deportable to. Right. But under our immigration law, he's still deportable today, right? It's specifically 8 U.S.C. 1227. He's out of status, yeah? So he's still deportable
They tried to
right now.
deport
He's
him.
just not deportable
A,
to El Salvador.
They tried to deport him before his withholding of removal order was expired, and they tried to deport him to the one place they weren't supposed to, and then proceeded to launch a propaganda ad thing against him, and that's literally the reason why he's here.
Well, so you're right on one part. You don't have to wait for withholding of deportation to be expired. You just can't deport him to the place it tells you not to deport him to, right?
Well, you do.
The U.S. code still
You
supersedes.
do,
No, you don't.
unless the circumstances
okay.
change in which you were given this
Right.
withholding of removal order. That
So-
circumstance can be
so
some
the
other crime
withholding-
that you committed. It can be another law that
That's
you
not right.
violated, so on and so forth. None of which we don't have any evidence for.
So if I may, right, the withholding is only to El Salvador, right? He's
Yeah,
back in the
we've
United
already been
States,
over
and they're
this.
still trying to deport him. Why are they still trying to deport him now? Then
They're
nothing's
still
changed
trying
for
to
him, right?
deport him. I don't know. I don't know why they would, but again,
Because he's
that would be stopped
deportable
by
under
a
8
court.
U.S.C. 1227.
Yeah, and a
Right?
court
He's-
ordered that
he's-
he
he's
stayed
deportable.
because of how they vindictively
No.
went after him. Yeah,
No, that's not
Correct.
true. Find me what's the court for that? If you have a name or something I can look
Sure.
up. That's not true at all.
I sure can. Kilmar. Yeah, that's how you spell his name. Prego Garcia.
That's right.
Yeah, this was the criminal case against
You can
Kilmar.
find him under
Prego
Maryland,
Garcia.
man.
This was on the 22nd of May. This is U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw Jr. They granted Abrego Garcia's motion to dismiss an indictment charging him with conspiring to transport immigrants between 2016 and 2025 and with transporting migrants during a November 30th, 2022 traffic stop. This was tossed out because of the no merits to the case.
Right. That's right. 100%.
The objective evidence
so
here
let's go
shows
back
that
to the original
absent
2019.
Abrego's successful lawsuit challenging his removal to El Salvador, the government would not have brought this prosecution. The
Correct.
executive branch closed its investigation on the November 2022 traffic stop only after Abrego Garcia succeeded in vindicating his rights. Did the executive branch reopen that investigation?
Right. So everything you're saying is correct, and I don't disagree with that. So let's go back to the current order, right? Because this court case you're talking about is about that stop from 2022. You're right. There's nothing they can do about that. Going back to his original withholding of deportation or removal, it's only for El Salvador. According to our current immigration laws, if a third country accepts him, he's still deportable under 8 USC 1227. That can still happen today. Nothing is stopping that, unless you have a court to disprove that. So Kilmar is a specific case where he has some sort of protection, right, El Salvador, but he's still deportable under immigration laws. At the end of the day, he had his asylum claim denied.
Yeah, you're still deportable, and there's a process you can use to appeal. You can still have due process. Due process, he was violated. His due process was not given to him. You're breaking up again.
They denied it.
You're breaking up again.
Wait, they denied his asylum claim. How can you say he didn't have due process?
They denied
His asylum claim was
when?
denied in 2019.
Okay, we're not talking about 2019.
In 2019.
We're talking about the appeal you could have put in during Donald Trump's attempt to deport him early of 2025. We already know about
He
his
already
denial
had a
of
final
asylum
order of
claims, but there was
deportation,
still a
right?
withholding of removal. Excuse me.
Right, you're not okay. So I think, but the withholding is only to El Salvador, right? So he's right in finding that, and he should have been brought back
and
just
to
like
any
he was.
other country, he would still have a right to a lawyer and to appeal said decision and argue against why he shouldn't be deported to that area. That was not afforded to Kilmar Brego Garcia. The White House already admitted it was administrative error in his deportation to the wrong place. He then came back. They tried to deport him again based off the claims of him being a trafficker. That did not work. The order that they said he was beating his wife or that bullshit, that also did not work. And now they're just trying to deport him again to somewhere else.
Right. So he's still deportable. You understand that, though, right?
I mean, he can be deported.
The U.S.
Sure,
Code,
a lot of people can be deported. Once the case is heard and tried and done, whatever the findings are, he still may be deportable. Sure.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so we don't disagree on that. So do you have any other legal status holders who are, or U.S. citizens, if you'd like, who are being deported?
No.
Since you say it's happening.
I didn't mention any other U.S. citizens being deported. Specifically, I mentioned the ones that are dead and the ones whose due process rights were violated. We can talk about the individual in Maryland who had real ID and he was detained by ICE 3 times.
Right. Okay. So and I'll give you that. Right. Those kind of things should not happen. Perhaps there's a lot of pressure on deportation and it's causing a lot of these issues to arise.
3,000 a day
but
quota.
we still are using immigration law. 3,000 a day.
Yeah, you're breaking
true,
it
right?
again. No, it is the Stephen Miller.
Do you have a source for that?
Yeah, Stephen Miller
Well,
was a quota given to DHS early last year.
Stephen Miller, right? He's not in charge of DHS, though,
No,
right?
he's not. He's an advisor.
Is he in charge of DHS?
He's an advisor to the president.
All right.
He's an advisor to these departments. I'm sorry, do you disagree with the quota?
Yeah, I don't think law enforcement should have quotas, right? I think that's a little weird. Wouldn't you agree?
No shit.
Do you think? I don't think law enforcement at all should have quotas.
That's the whole contention with it.
Right.
And we saw after the quota was put out, the ramping up of people that were detained, specifically not even deported, detained and held in these detainment centers, many of which were then released because they had no ground to be there to begin with.
Right. And I don't argue with you on those things, right? Those things should have not happened and that should be fixed, right? But what I'm arguing is that the Trump administration is using immigration law that's existed since the 1950s, right? So I don't see anything wrong with what they're doing in the grand scheme of things. Our era's going to occur, sure. But
citing a law that they're
we should
trying
do
to
exactly what they're
enforce
doing.
doesn't change the execution of said law. And the fact that they've been found wrong on occasion after occasion after occasion in the execution of the existing law. Like, because basically your whole point is, oh, well, they're using the law. Well, yeah, you can deport people. No shit. Biden deported people. Obama deported people. All of these presidents beforehand had a DHS and had an ICE that was able to deport people. We're aware of the laws that makes people deportable. The contention is the violation of said law. The contention is a lack of due process. Even in expedited removals, which the Trump administration is ramping up, there is still a very limited amount of due process that is afforded.
Right. And I think that's been executed correctly, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Expedited removal under the Trump administration? Are you
That's
tracking
right.
here? Because my answer is
I am.
no. I've been arguing
Well,
against
you've
that
just
this
said that they
entire
have a small
time.
amount of due process.
Limited, yes. They're still afforded
Right,
so. which
right,
the
and
Trump
that's exactly
administration
what
has
the
not
right.
been allowing many
That's not
individuals.
true.
It is true.
Okay,
is
how
true.
many would you say? Yeah.
How many times
How
I have
many
to
would
go
you say,
over
yeah?
cases and instances with you?
No. Just give me a ballpark number. I don't need cases. Just you're saying it's happening to many, right? We've got over
The
600,000
reports from
deportations.
Alligator Alcatraz
What percentage of
and
that?
Deportation Depot, with many of the individuals who was held in these detention centers and went up
Reports
to
from
weeks
who?
at a time without being able to talk to their lawyers. Then when they were moved from Alligator Alcatraz, because I'm sure you're aware that it was temporarily shut down before the court put an order, it was temporarily shut down or halting the construction over environmental concerns. Then they stopped them, and that order was rescinded, and they were able to carry on. When those individuals were moved to another detention facility, many of them were lost. It could have been a paperwork issue, but those lawyers were said they could not get a hold of their, what do you call them? What do you call them? The people they were representing. They couldn't get a hold of them for even weeks.
Right. So
Are you
I don't
unaware
believe
of
a lot
these
of what you're saying.
instances? You don't
Oh
have
no,
to
I'm
believe
aware
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
reports of
This
it.
is true.
Well, you don't have to believe our self-deportation numbers either. They're also
Yeah, I
true. See how
absolutely
that
don't
works?
have to believe.
Do you have any
your
evidence of it?
self-deportation numbers? Once again, we already went over this. The 1.6 million people that the Trump administration said self-deported. This would be under.
Right.
This would be under their application, CBP, and the option that you can utilize to self-deport with a reward of at least minimum $1,000. We don't have that reflected in any budget, and then the numbers for people who signed up to self-deport is unconfirmable. You gave me an instance of voluntary departures that will require you to go through a
I can't
court.
confirm what you said
No,
either,
hold on. That will require you to go through a court, and how that number is substantially increased. But even in that number, I just want to remind you of what you told me and what we read here. That is a sliver of the 1.6 million that you're talking about. This was what, roughly an 8,000 increase? 8,800 per month? Yeah, 8,800 per month. You can go from end of Biden's term, so January to February 2026, 13 months. Do the math. 9,000 times 12. That is nowhere near the number that you're talking about. That is nowhere near the Trump administration's number. That's why I don't believe it. And this is separate, once again, from CBP1 applications. Or home. Is it one or home now? I think it's one.
I think it's right. Makes more sense. It's sending you home. Right. So I think the issue here, right, is that you just reject that this is happening. Do you not? Do you
I
think the
reject
administration
what
is
the
lying
Trump
about this? And if
administration
so,
can't
what would be
prove.
the?
Yes.
Well, they can't prove it, but they don't have to prove it to you, though, right? Would you agree?
No. They can't. They have not.
So
You know what we can prove? We can prove the amount of people that were deported, correct? Can't hear you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Uniquely, for the coins. I appreciate you. Thank you for knocking that out. Oh, let me make sure I reset this gift goal as well. Guys, continue to double tap that screen. Let's get the likes up to 100K and beyond. Share out the live with your friends and family as well. Give it a good repost and add to your story. Send your daily heartbeats in the top left corner if you have not already. W signal is crazy. And make sure we're doing all the good things. I'm going to go ahead and get this gift goal reset here. Those of you on the YouTube side, hit the like button on the stream, subscribe and turn on notification bells. And if you want to support the platform, super chat, super sticker, or consider becoming a member. And of course, links in the bio or the description of the YouTube live stream for those of you who want to donate in that fashion. So I don't think it's tracking for you. I don't believe things that the Trump administration just says or puts out in statements and press briefings where there is no data to support it. There is data to support the deportation numbers of, the last I checked, 600,000 people. There was data to support that. That was reflected in CBP numbers. The encounter rate under the Trump administration's second term, there is data to show it month after month. There is no data to support the 1.6 million people who self-deported. There is nothing reflected in our budget to where we would have been paying $1,000 at minimum to each and every single person who successfully left. And I can even go as far as to say, which I will not use in this debate, but I'm going to just fucking say it, anecdotal experiences of people who did self-deport and never got paid a dime. There's not a single anecdotal experience on any form of social media where someone said they self-deployed and were paid.
So we're not accepting anecdotal data, right? But you expect me to
Everything I said, but that one last thing, everything I said, but that one last thing was not anecdotal. So please don't try to hyper focus on that, my guy.
Sure. So let's take a look at uscis.gov. Yeah, familiar with it?
I just want you to prove something. I just want you to prove your overall claim. That's it.
Well, I mean, a government source is not something that I can prove to you, apparently, right? If I use a .gov website, you reject the premise
hold
of
on.
it. I'm sorry.
Wait. Do you think that just because it has a .gov behind it means that all the information posted on it is correct?
I think this is correct. Yeah, I believe so.
That wasn't my question. Nope. That wasn't my question. Do you believe because it has a .gov behind it, that means everything posted on that website is correct?
No, of course not, right? Not at all. But
okay.
I think if we're talking about
going if the
immigration,
government
I would
website
trust
is
the
irrelevant to your
Department
argument
of Homeland Security. Well, all right then. So give me some evidence for each of these people. Alcatraz, yeah. Do you have any non-anecdotal evidence of this? Yeah.
Non-anecdotal? I didn't give you anything anecdotal with that. I never said that was anecdotal.
You said that a lawyer made a statement that they couldn't reach their
lawyers, several lawyers. Yes, these people were interviewed. There were several reports from several different sources. We can talk about the New York Times. We can talk about the Independent. We can talk about Guardian. We can mention AP News.
What's their source?
So on and so forth. The individuals that they would have interviewed. ICE declining a request for comment. Not ICE, excuse me. These detention centers declining to comment on behalf of the whereabouts of these information. The numbers that we never had to find them. Right. Is this the point? Is this the part where you go, oh my God, because an article said it, then it's not true, despite what the findings of the article is? I think you're trying to play this game now of trying to negate what I'm saying and what I can actually prove solely based off the fact that you can't prove your point. Again, if there's a government website that tracks self-deportations and the money we would allegedly pay to them, this would be reflected somewhere other than in statements. And then, if there was a self-deportation, where an individual would get paid, this would also be reflected by the same sources that I'm mentioning. The AP News, the New York Times, or whoever else that would be interviewing these people and then proving what they're saying.
Right. So would you like to file a FOIA request for this, yeah? We can do this again later, yeah?
By all means,
well,
yes,
hang on now.
You should be one of the many people who have filed the FOIA requests for the number of self-deportations and that data specifically and have heard nothing back. Well, I think you're missing the point of this entire conversation. Do you think people haven't? Do you think like no one has tried? Here's what I want you to do. I do want you to put in a request. I actually do. I want you to put in a request. And I think it would be beneficial to see that you get nothing. No, I don't trust the Trump administration when they have given me no reason to trust some of the things that they say concerning immigration. I can give several different examples that warrant my continued distrust for it.
I think we're just going to disagree on that. I think the numbers are pretty solid overall.
Yeah, you can
right?
keep
and I think
saying the numbers are
lying
solid.
About this,
you never mentioned numbers. You just mentioned.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you did mention numbers, but you just mentioned statements. Well, is that getting through your skull here? Statements.
Statements
Christy
from the people privy
made
to
several
this data,
different
right?
statements. Friendly reminder that Renee Nicole Good, when she was killed by an ICE agent, was called a domestic terrorist who was following around ICE agents. Alex Preddy was called a gunman by Donald Trump himself, even though the firearm was taken off his back when he was laying on the ground and shot point blank dead there.
Well,
statements are
information on things that are emerging can change rapidly, right? When there's attacks and stuff,
there were
the details change pretty drastically.
No. First off, that is literally an example of all the reasons why you should not speak on behalf of things that you don't know or that you were never seen or heard on the initial, time of the incident until the information comes out. Donald Trump, Christy Noem, and the rest of them didn't do that. They tried to clean up after their fucking criminalities and what they ordered, what they issued. Secondly, additionally, after the right reports came out, after all the information was there, we literally had video proof verified by several independent agencies, including the Trump administration, specifically with Renee Nicole Good. They themselves posted a video, the worst video, mind you, on Truth Social. Donald Trump posted a video on Truth Social of a faraway camera with the most blurriest quality and used the glitching in the pixels because the quality was so bad to say that the car hit Jonathan Ross, putting out a report showing that he had internal bleeding, something of which none of us have fucking seen. And we do not have a court case to where we can thoroughly investigate this alleged claim because they're protecting Jonathan Ross. There's very, very different between, hey, we were told this happened, and then later on we found out this didn't happen, and we corrected it. Donald Trump himself, literally, after Alex Brady was confirmed to have not pulled a firearm at anyone, still called him a gunman, still called him a domestic terrorist, then went as far as to say he shouldn't have had a gun out there.
Right. So, are you familiar with the supremacy clause? Yeah. You familiar why there's no?
What is
trial
the
or anything
relevance
like
of the supremacy clause in this conversation?
So my understanding is the state wanted a lot of the evidence so they can make their own investigation, right? But this is an individual who's a federal agent on official business, right? Official duty. Therefore, this would fall under the supremacy clause. So you won't see any state investigations because the Constitution said so.
We won't see any state investigation because the federal government and those departments are not cooperating with the state for said investigations.
Right.
And they're going as far. No one said they did. And they're going as far as to not having the DOJ investigate any DHS misconduct. This was announced within the last week. And they're leaving it solely up to DHS. The department that's alleged to have been doing all these different crimes and having all this gross amounts of misconduct is now the sole ones responsible for investigating misconduct in their department. That's like asking bad cops to investigate bad cops.
Well, I don't see it like that. I think you just...
Yeah, I think we have more than enough evidence, examples to say that it very much is a terrible idea, especially when we don't have any objective forms of things, such as body cams. No longer are these people wearing their body cams, and when they are, they're not turning it on. What are we doing?
I think they've got it now, though, right? Don't they have body cams now? Isn't that like a new thing?
They've always had body cams. They don't turn them on.
No, I think they're required to turn them on now, yeah?
on.
I think that's changed in the last few days, hasn't it?
Has it?
I believe so.
You believe so? What is this belief founded on? Is it the same belief that says there's 1.6 million self-deportations? Is it that same belief?
It could be. Let's see. Let's take a look and see. Yeah. Oh, it looks like you might be doing it already.
Yeah.
So, would you say it's a good thing if it is?
Yeah, I would say it's the minimum.
Excellent.
Let's see. ICE resumes nationwide traffic stops under new policy requiring body cameras. New guidance requires at least one officer to wear a body. Hold the fuck up. No, this is not the issue. They were already wearing them. Hold on. Let's check this. Wearing it is one thing. It's about turning it on. So let's see. U.S. Immigration and Customs. I'm reading this from Fox. Officers across the country have been told they can resume traffic stops under new guidance issued Thursday, but only if at least one officer involved is wearing a body camera. The guidance comes after the White House publicly confirmed Thursday that ICE vehicle stops are continuing. Vehicle stops are necessary too. I don't care about Caroline Levitt's words. I need the requirement to turn it on. The new directive means officers without access to body cameras are not authorized to conduct traffic stops. Okay, so this is specifically for traffic stops. Body cameras have not yet been deployed to every ICE field office after the rollout began in the agency's largest cities. The policy is expected to continue limiting the number of ICE traffic stops that can be conducted nationwide until the rollout is complete. So
you said they've already been wearing the body cams, but it's saying here that now they're required to. So it's a little bit of
traffic stops specifically.
So yeah, right. But you said that they've always worn body cams; they just don't turn them on. So you would assume they'd have them on for traffic stops. But if they're saying they got to ship them to them, I don't think.
Yeah, well, not every single. Again, I literally just read it. Not every single ICE office has had them, but ICE agents in general, yes. A large portion of them have been already wearing body cams. We have several instances of them not being on when it comes to some of the most trending cases.
Right.
And according to the spokesperson, and this is a load of crap here, the process of purchasing and issuing body-worn cameras to all of our ICE field offices was interrupted by the Democrats' multiple government shutdowns. Get the fuck out of here. These guys are so full of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Especially with the was it 60 or 70 billion package that we just had passed for them, and the one that was passed before then in the last year. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, yeah, this is a requirement for them to at least one to be wearing it during traffic stops specifically, and that's just wearing it. That's not even turning it on, which brings us back to square one. The requirement, the mandate should be that that camera is on, active and on. It should be checked and verified and on during all of those encounters.
Well, I think that's the case, right? We're just not reading into it too much.
What do you mean you think that's the case?
Well, you're reading a generalized statement. We're not actually seeing the directive, yeah? So, I mean, it's certainly possible that there is something in there. We just don't see it, right?
It's certainly possible. Sure. Everything's possible.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Well, this
exactly,
has been a lovely
Tennis.
conversation.
What happened in Maine?
I don't know. Not familiar with Maine.
You're not familiar with the
Anything else you need? If not, I'd like to go for now, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry, y'all. There's something about ice bootlickers that just gets under my skin. There's just something about ice bootlickers that gets under my skin. There's just no. I dropped him. He said he wants to go. Technically he was leaving anyway, but no, I dropped him because he said he wants to go. This has been a lovely conversation. Not for me. I see your source here, Monica. Feds now sharing evidence in Minnesota ICE surge shootings, including Renee Good's SUV. The top prosecutors of Minnesota and Hennepin County say federal investigators are now sharing evidence in connection to the shootings by immigration agents in the state amid Operation Metro Surge earlier this year in Minneapolis, including Renee Good's SUV. So I stand corrected. This is as of the 13th of this month. Minnesota is getting cooperation. God forbid every other state, but as of 13th this month, Minnesota is getting some cooperation. I still wouldn't say this is going to be too much until the cooperation would actually show what the evidence was. For example, we could have had this way back since Renee Nicole Good was killed if we had the appropriate subpoena take place in the federal law enforcement subcommittee. I made a video about that and how the Republicans voted against the subpoena to require DHS to give those documents, those files, those recordings, whatever they had potentially over to the authorities for investigation. Republicans said no to that subpoena. So there's that. So as far as I'm concerned, it should have never taken this long, but we'll see what comes from this as of July the 13th. W's in the chat to you. Thank you so much, Monica, for that source. I appreciate you. Trump supporters request up in the box. You are the demographic of people I'd like to have a conversation with. If you're over on the tube side, and call the number on screen, 737-295-5321. Guys, knock out the little penny gift goals to get us boosted on the FYP. Continue to share out the live with your friends and family. We have 27 shares. There's 410 of you in here. There's no reason whatsoever why we shouldn't at least be at 100 shares. Make sure you're posting it out to your friends and family. Repost and add to your story. We want as many people as possible to reach it. And if it's not allowing you to repost, that may be because I put up the source there. TikTok is getting really sensitive with showing your sources now. Thank you guys for the chilies. I appreciate that. Deborah's in chat to Sean for the $5 super chat. I'm calling out Microbe Joe and Randy to call in next. Insipid yappers with no sources. Oh, are they chirping in the YouTube? Phone line's open and the phone line is working. I just double checked it. Phone line is open and the phone line is working. You've been calling the number on screen, 737-295-5321.
God bless
It pains
you.
me how many people, thank you so much, Anita, for the money gun. WCU, it pains me how many people do not know about ICE misconduct. Or, better yet, the argument he was trying to go down, oh, it's only this much cases and these much instances, therefore, overall, they're doing a good job. No. Absolutely not. When an ICE agent can kill you and be protected by the government, they're not doing a good job because that protection would apply to everyone else. When an ICE agent can pull you over multiple times, stop you multiple times, despite you having your information, you have your This is a crazy thing. We have people walking around with birth certificates, guys. I really want you guys to think about this. We have people walking around with birth certificates on them out of fear. Out of fear, they may have to prove their citizenship on the spot. because ICE agents are just going out profiling the hell out of anyone. There is no specific, stringent, targeted operation happening. They're just getting anybody and everybody. Yeah, passports and everything else. Hell, my ass doesn't have a valid passport. I don't have my shit set for renewal. It's out of my application. I don't have a valid passport. And I keep my birth certificate at home. God forbid I'm outside and make a Caribbean accent joke. And somebody goes, does he belong here? I have a video on my profile as well of a Trump supporter telling me that I do not look like I was born here. And then imagine one of those people now working for ICE. Imagine people looking at you and then using that to determine your citizenship. That is the dangers that we see under the Trump administration. Thank you guys for knocking out those gifts as well. I'm going to go ahead and up it up to the little, where's the, did they move? Did they move like the divine fingers? I guess they did. Yes, they did. TikTok is consistently changing stuff. Hasn't stopped ICE from picking people that have had papers on them. Literally. And I always forget her name. I just remember one of it. Or one aspect of it. It's Dulce. Say, give me a second. I never remember her full name. I only ever remember Dulce. Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales. This was the woman in Maryland. She showed her birth certificate. She showed her history of immunization records at our hospitals and everything else. And they said it's fake. You know why they said it was fake? Because her mother's last name was different from her father's last name. That was one of the things that they used to say it was fake. And it seemed like that was a predominant thing and a ridiculous thing at that. My mother's last name was different from my father's last name. You know why? Because they didn't get fucking married. She was thrown around to, I want to say, 5 or 6 different ICE detainment centers over the course of 6 to 7 months. And then they finally let her go. With an ankle monitor, mind you. But then they finally let her go. And then as of, I think it was last month or the month before, finally all charges were dropped. Last month, I'm correct. Last month, all charges were dropped. Could you imagine going through that hurdle as an American? Your job, the legal, the finances, the money you have to put forward for your legal troubles, the media scrutiny, unnecessary. Imagine going through that as an American because these people aren't doing their job correctly. No one should have to go through that. My fear is that they'll take my documents and say I didn't have any. Listen, can we say that's happening? No. Can we say it could? Sure. With these guys are getting half the training as ICE agents before, who are no longer being required to take the basic 1-month training of Spanish because many of the people that we're going to be speaking to speak Spanish, right? Bare minimum, you need to take 1 month of basic Spanish. They can't even do that. Their background checks are coming back after. In some cases, they're put out in the field, showing that they are criminals. Yeah. Shit's insane. Half it's less. It's dependent. So if I'm not mistaken, the training has been typically 16 weeks, 15, 16 weeks. And then many of them are getting 8 to 10. I've seen some say as little as 7. So it's all dependent. But we can give rough averages for that. W's in the chat to Jana for the $20 Venmo. I'm not modding tonight, but wanted to come and show some love. Everyone like the YouTube stream and subscribe. It is free. Have a great stream, Hector. That's the goal. Thank you so much, Jana. Big W's to Jana for your support. I appreciate you. Guys, anyone else want to support the platform, feel free to hit up the links in the bio on Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. Those of you over on the YouTube side, you know what to do. Hector talks with 2 R's on all the things. They've been heavy in my area the past few days. I can thankfully say I don't see them often, but then again, I don't go much places. So there's that. With that being said, continue to double tap the screen. We're coming up on the hour mark and we're almost at 100,000 likes. So please show the algorithm that you want to be here. Please show the algorithm want to be here by double tapping. Thank you guys for getting the shares up. It looks like we're up to 51 now. Still slow on that. So make sure we're continuing to share out the live as well. Get it out to all the people that you can. Oh yeah, they've been fucking over everybody. I think it was 13, 8 technical and 5 for language. Yeah. Yeah. 5 is correct, actually. Not a month. 5 is correct for language. 5 is correct for language. Any case. Every time his mods in the chat get proven wrong, which is extremely often, they either block, kick, or whine and tell you to call in. Well, you're wrong, but let's say that you were right. That would be the whole point. My lives is not for you to argue with my mods. There's a call-in number for you to call in. And if my mods are wrong about something, and you can prove my mods wrong on the stream, then that would be a win for you. Am I missing something? The problem is with you guys, you keyboard warriors specifically, it's a lot of this. Everything they say is wrong. They never have any proof. Don't worry about what he put up on the screen. That's not proof. That's not real proof. I bet you that's a liberal source. I just know that's a liberal source. So it's never true. Liberal sources are never true. And they're wrong. And I know they're wrong. And I can prove they're wrong in the comments when I say that they're wrong. I don't prove they're wrong by showing something. I just say that they're wrong. And I'm right because they're wrong. Like, I do need a keyboard warrior sticker. I literally said that weeks ago and I forgot to make it. I do need a keyboard warrior sticker. Okay, I see that, Devin. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, we don't tolerate slurs over there in the chat. So I heard something interesting today. And it's about Zoran Mamdani. God bless you. Thank you uniquely for the gifts. Thank you so much for the finger hearts. I appreciate you. It's about Zoran Mamdani. Ted Cruz had some choice words for your boy. Okay? He had some choice words for your boy. And I just wanted to play it for y'all. Did I save it? Yes, I did. Here we go. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you guys. At least the TikTokers. By the way, Shh. Not ready yet. Do I have it up on the Googly? Yeah, here we go. Let me make a couple adjustments. And you guys can see it. And there's a point I'm going to drive home here once we're done. But I just want to play this video. This is what Ted Cruz had to say about Mamdani. Friendly reminder that the new tactic of discouraging people from voting Democratic is associating them with the radical left. We're literally doing the Red Scare all over again. So this is what Ted Cruz had to say about Zoran Mamdani.
And by the way, Mamdani, you know who does own a pied-à-terre? That would be Comrade Mamdani, who has a palatial estate in Uganda. But that's always the case. Fidel Castro was a billionaire. Putin is a billionaire. The leaders of communist regimes are always rich. They steal and rob from those they govern. Look at what Mamdani, by the way.
I'm going to play that one more time.
Mamdani, you know who does own a pied-à-terre? That would be Comrade Mamdani, who has a palatial estate in Uganda. But that's always the case. Fidel Castro was a billionaire. Putin is a billionaire. The leaders of communist regimes are always rich. They steal and rob from those they govern. Look at what Mamdani, by the way.
Okay, so let's get into it. I heard about this a while ago, and I never even bothered to look it up, to be completely honest with you. I didn't bother to look it up. But this caught my interest. He said he has this elaborate estate in Uganda. So I decided to look it up. Luxury estates? Kind of a stretch. Zoran Mamdani has 4 miles of land. Acres. Thank you. 4 acres of land in Uganda. And it's estimated to be no more than $250,000 in the region. You can see that reflected in his net worth in the United States because of this land that he has. We know that he lives in a rent-stabilized apartment. Like, I don't know where they think he's getting all this buku amounts of money from. So I don't know what he's talking about. Well, I do know. I'm going to tell you now. I don't know what he's talking about when it comes to him being this luxurious man in Uganda, having all this land and money and property. So then I looked into it a little bit deeper. His family, Zola Mamdani's mother and father, own a luxury property as defined in Uganda. I'm about to show it to you guys. They own a luxury property in Uganda. It's on Airbnb. It's actually on Airbnb, and I took a good look at it. It is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath establishment, and it's labeled on the site as luxury. I don't know if a lot of this would be luxury by American standards, but it is nice. It is nice. So let me show you guys some of the pictures. Yeah, that should be good. That should be good. Let me show you guys some of the pictures. If it lets me, yeah, show all photos. Advance. And let's go through this. Let's go through this together, right? So this is like a full kitchen. This would be like some aspects of the dining area. Here's the main bedroom, the master bedroom. This is bedroom 2. Bedroom 3, double bed and couch. Bedroom 4. Bedroom 5. Excuse me. Full bathroom. Backyard. Very nice pool, I will say that. I will say that. Balcony. Exterior. Literally got whole monkeys on the roof and shit. The pool. And these are just extra photos. So it's a nice property. Please don't get me wrong. It is a nice property. And when you go further into the booking, in fact, let me just do this really quickly. Let's see what it would cost to book it for this weekend. Let's do check availability. And let's go, nothing available is for this month. So let's go to the first weekend of August. And let's do Friday to Sunday. Oh, 3-night minimum. Okay, Friday to Monday. Base price, $749 for 3 nights. So it would be roughly, can you guys see it? Yeah. Roughly $250 a night. Without the additional taxes, cleaning fees, so on and so forth. Obviously, that will most likely jump this up to, I would say, roughly $1,000. This is his property. This is his property. Or, excuse me, his parents' property. Your parents' property is not your property, for one thing. Your parents' property is not your property. And for two, these seem like kind of the average process for a decent Airbnb. I'm sure the property is valued for maybe $1 million out there, $2 million. I don't know. I imagine it's cheaper than the United States for a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. So this entire narrative that anyone's trying to paint of Zoran Mamdani being some secret rich guy who's trying to weaponize democratic socialism to, I don't know, take money from the working class doesn't work at all. Look at the property, look at where he lives, look at his actual net worth and what he owns. That's just the 4 acres. That's a bold-faced lie. But there is something that Ted Cruz said that I do want to go back to that I would say may have some truth to it. First and foremost, shout out to Tristan. Thank you so much, Tristan, for sending out the 5 memberships on YouTube. Big WCU. Big WCU. Thank you guys so much for the memberships. To all of the 5 additional DEIA subscribers, thank you guys for so much for your support. Please make sure you're checking out your perks. And W's in the chat to Sean for the $5 super chat. Why is it so difficult for MAGA to define words correctly? Socialism, communism, and fascists actually have real definitions. MAGA, you have a computer. And those are different definitions too, not just like their own definition. They're all different. 6,000%. W's in the chat to you. W's in the chat to you. And W's in the chat to Nina for the $5 Venmo. I dread when school starts and I have to worry about them coming around my local high school. I will be out with my whistle and ready to protect the students and parents when I can. You absolutely should. You absolutely should. I've heard a lot of that. They will literally have the whistle as a necklace around their neck, blowing it. WCL. That's a very good tool to have if you're out and about often. Thank you guys so much for getting the likes up to 100,000. But I want to go back to what Ted Cruz said about billionaires. Okay? Let me go back to that section specifically.
Putin is there. Castro, but that's always the case. Fidel Castro was a billionaire. Putin is a billionaire. The leaders of communist regimes are always rich. They steal and rob from those they govern. Look at what
Okay. So, would you guys say passing the largest tax cuts in history, centering around the 1% that's contributed to slowed GDP growth, while taxes in other ways, such as tariffs or otherwise, have been increased for the average working class American, would you guys say that it would be a form of robbery? Also, we don't have to go over the billionaire part. Donald Trump's a little billionaire. Would you guys say that weaponizing the government to enrich yourself by over $3 billion by insider trading, which the Trump administration has literally admitted to on several times, would you guys say that may be a way that you would be stealing from Americans, that you would be the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse that Doge was supposed to cut out? I just find it interesting how in his example, where he tried to paint Zohar Mamdani as being everything Donald Trump is, he basically proved all of our points. I don't know. I think one of the funniest things about doing what I do and covering political commentators, conservative representatives, so on and so forth, covering their conservative, allegedly conservative Republican ones, is that if you listen to them talk enough, they snitch on themselves. If you listen to them talk enough, they'll actually tell the truth about their own party, their own president, their own candidates. I just thought that was super interesting. Super duper interesting. You know what? Hold on. Yeah, you have my attention, sir. You can permanently shut up. There we go. You have my attention. Anyway. So yeah, there's Ted Cruz snitching on himself again. Also, let's go over the actual value. Let's go after the actual value. So once again, Zohar Mamdani's net worth is estimated to be no more than $250,000. Do you guys want to know what Ted Cruz's estimated net worth is? Take a wild guess, guys. I'm just curious to see what you guys say. Take a wild guess as to what Ted Cruz's net worth is. Because if we're saying that $250,000, or even screw it, I'm gonna say this. So his parents' net worth is roughly, and this is very rough, but I'm just gonna give the numbers. Let's just say maximum of 10 million. Best estimates show 2.5 to 10 million. So let's just go with 10 million. Let's say his parents' net worth is $10 million. Okay? Billion is crazy. Guys, billion is crazy. No, Ted Cruz could never. Let's say his parents are $10 million estimated net worth. Ted Cruz is $6 million. Look at his net worth. It is $6 million. So if you're right up on their parents, wouldn't you, by your own words, also be one of those, communist, radicalist, evil people trying to rob Americans? That's 7 more than he deserves. You're being generous. You're being extremely generous. Also, guys, friendly reminder that tonight we are going to be having a movie night in the Discord. So if you're in the Discord, you're good. If you're not, tonight at 7:15 p.m. CST, we are going to be watching, which is literally, 2 hours and 30 minutes. No. 2 hours and 35 minutes. In 2 hours and 35 minutes, we're going to be going to the Discord to watch the Sister Act. If you are not in the Discord, link in the description of the live stream or link in my bio here on TikTok. Click on the Discord icon, open up the invite on your browser, and you'll get in if you want to be a part of the movie night. We're doing back-to-back movie nights. Tonight's going to be Sister Act, and then tomorrow's going to be Sister Act 2. So if you want to be a part of that, join the Discord. With that being said, Trump supporters request up in the box. You are the demographic of people I'd like to have a conversation with. If you're over on the tube side, we call the number on screen, 737-295-5321. I'm going to take this downtime to go over some more news with you. The Trump administration's attempts to gut healthcare and jack up those prices on American hardworking civilians is going to be it's already in rampant effect, but it's going to be even increased here come 2027. Trump administration to end Medicare Part D subsidy program in 2027. Heck, do I need a pic of you to paint on live? I'm good on that. The Trump administration is ending a key health insurance subsidy program that aimed to keep premiums for seniors' prescription drug plans in check, claiming that it benefits corporate insurance companies, according to Centers for Medicare, a Medicaid Services Administrator, and Medicaid Services Administrator, Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz. Medicare Part D, the government's health insurance program's prescription drug benefit is used by tens of millions of older or disabled beneficiaries. The program's subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year, the administration announced Tuesday. That move will likely result in higher prescription costs and increased premiums for about half of recipients, according to an administration official. This is not ABC News. This is not the left. This is an administration official. The changes are anticipated to happen in 2027, and enrollees will find out the new monthly cost later this fall. So that's when they're going to get their notices. Currently, the government pays billions of dollars to insurance companies as a subsidy to keep prescription drug insurance at an average of $36 per person per month, according to KFF, a health policy nonprofit. Ending the subsidies may increase premiums for some by as much as $20 a month, according to KFF. Now, my question is, if we're going to be getting rid of Part D subsidies, what are we replacing it with? What is the where's the goal to bring down those costs or to mitigate the cost increase that we're going to see for these substances? Do you guys know? Is it still going to be the concepts of a healthcare plan? Because I've been waiting. I've been asking and I've been waiting for years. Also, guys, thank you guys so much. Your gifts yesterday got us a league shield. So we have a league shield for today. If you guys continue to knock out any of the gifts that we have or knock out anything in the gift gallery, that is going to help us stay in C League so that we can get back up to B League. So please remember to click on my name in the top left corner, scroll down to the C1 gift gallery, and any of those grayed out gifts, feel free to become a title gifter. It super duper helps the platform, or send whatever the hell you want, but the gift gallery super duper helps. Thank you guys for your support in that fashion. But yeah, our plan is just to gut it and leave it there. We've already seen the results of the initial ACA subsidy cancellations come 2026 specifically, where we saw health insurance premiums go up by as many as 4 times the amount that it was previously. Some people even said 5. And the Trump administration's response was nothing. It was nothing. He recently ran in Michigan. I believe it was Michigan, and there was a Georgia rally that he did when he was speaking alongside, is it Rick Jackson? Yes, Rick Jackson. Rick Jackson, who is running for... oh, this is actually a trip. Rick Jackson, who is running for the Georgia governor race. Do you guys know? I actually didn't know what he did. He's the founder and CEO of Jackson Healthcare, a healthcare staffing and services company based in Alpharetta, Georgia. This is starting to make a lot more sense. This is exactly why he talked about healthcare in Georgia, that rally. Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. He spoke about this because this guy has a health insurance company. Alpharetta, I think that's how you pronounce it. Alpharetta, Georgia. What did I say? Did I not say Alpharetta?
God bless you.
What did I say before? Thank you, Maya, for clearing out the hearts in the gift gallery. Thank you so much, Maya. I said Alpharetta. Oh, okay. Whoopsies. Alpharetta. Thank you so much, Maya. I appreciate you. W's to Maya in the chat. But yeah. Made sense that he finally decides to address healthcare when you're endorsing a healthcare company. Is he a billionaire? Is Rick Jackson a billionaire or a millionaire? Hold on. Yep, he's a billionaire. He is a billionaire. Imagine that. A billionaire healthcare CEO supporting Donald Trump, bringing up the cost of your healthcare. The jokes write themselves, bro. The jokes write themselves. What is happening over here on YouTube? Oh, is someone crying that their friend got muted? Yeah, I muted the friend because he was chirping. You're chirping too a whole lot. If you guys are going to say that I'm lying, if you guys are going to say that I'm spreading misinformation, if you guys are going to say that I am telling fake news and propaganda, I'm going to ask you to prove it. That's how that works. I let a lot of things slide in the comments, but when you specifically say that I'm lying about something, you need to prove that I'm lying. I will absolutely mute you guys. If you directly say I'm lying, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because I find it fascinating how many of you just chirp it and you can't prove it. Sarah, the streets aren't safer when the government can persecute you. Because how are we supposed to stop the government from doing that when our representatives uphold said persecution? I love it when you guys say that our streets are safer under Trump. Because the best argument you guys have is downward trends of crime, things that were happening well under the Biden administration, things that's been seeing a substantial decreases since 2020. Can we name a single state, a single blue state specifically, that's all I care about, a blue state under the Biden administration where crime overall went up? I'm curious, is there a single blue state under the Biden administration where crime went up year over year? Can we prove that? Can we prove that? Local and states are responsible for local and state law enforcement. Yeah, that's why I've seen places like Baltimore with the implementation of community policing. They have a form of cashless bail. Literally saw a 50% reduction in crime. And that's one of the things that just debunks the argument that cashless bail increases crime. First and foremost, people don't understand how cashless bail actually works and who it applies to. Secondly, if it worked so good here, what is your argument then? What is your argument against it? Especially considering that predominantly it's used against black and brown individuals who are wrongfully convicted and arrested for a lot of the crimes that they do not do. That is my question. I ask a lot of questions, and I'm starting to notice it's a waste of time because I never get answers. I never get answers, bro. It's one of the most frustrating things about talking to Trump supporters. I ask a whole lot of questions, and I never get answers. It's almost as if you don't have any. Another piece of news here. ICE arrests a surge at airports, opening new front in deportation drive. This is something that the Trump administration has been trying to do significantly since coming into the Oval Office of 2025, and they are going on to do so. Problem is, it looks like we have some reports, and this is since December specifically, that ICE agents were picking up people who had pending expiring visas, but they had pending applications to renew it. Pending applications to renew it. Immigration agents in plain clothes have whisked away targets at check-in counters and arrival gates, with enforcement actions in at least 15 airports in recent weeks. Some of the arrests have occurred quietly, while others have happened as angry fellow passengers filmed the encounters. I've seen a few of them myself. The recent arrest appeared to be an expansion of an arrangement between the Transportation Security Administration and Immigration ICE. TSA and ICE. The Times reported in December that ICE officers were arresting people with deportation orders at airports with the help of information provided by airlines to the TSA. Now, through a review of Homeland Security Department documents and interviews with lawyers from more than 25 people from more than a dozen countries recently detained at airports, the Times has learned that the program apparently now includes people with expired visas, a much larger group. Hundreds of thousands of immigrants and visitors overstay visas each year. Many with expired visas occupy a legal gray area as they are awaiting visa extensions or green cards and have been issued work permits. Such individuals were not prioritized for deportation in the past unless they had committed crimes, and they were rarely detained while waiting for visa extensions or green cards. But that has changed under Trump, whose administration has undertaken a campaign of mass deportation and views all visa overstays as illegal. The problem with that is, if your visa extension is pending, then you're not here illegally. The legality or illegality of it would be determined upon the successful completion, accepting, or denying of your extension. That is where you would be illegally here in the United States. When we're picking up people and sending them back as their investigation is pending, as their requirement is pending for renewal, we're then getting a necessary hurdle on DHS, on taxpayers for their enforcement, especially if that person was going to qualify with flying colors, which we would not know unless we afford them the proper due process. Again, that's the key word that we keep leaving out of these conversations: due process. 4th, 5th, 6th, 14th Amendment. Can you tell us how ICE is impacting tourism? The biggest example I saw was Las Vegas. And this was from last year. Las Vegas saw a substantial decrease in tourism. I'm not sure what it is nationally. That is a good question. Yes. Tourism. Yes, dropped. Let me see what I can pull up nationally. Oof. So first thing I see is Canada, which this actually tracks. That fell 2025. No, stupid. That fell 25% last year. 25% last year from Canada. But from what I'm seeing here, international tourism jobs, the biggest declines were Canada, Europe, and Asia alongside. Yeah, here we go. What I do have is a report from Bloomberg. Ooh, this is interesting. As would-be overseas visitors went elsewhere or simply stayed home, the U.S. tourism industry lost on as much as $16.6 billion in 2025, and is headed for an additional $21 billion deficit this year. What it might have learned if it had maintained its pre-Trump market share, researcher tourism economics estimates. Travelers have choices, says Aaron Ryan, a director of the firm. Trump administration policies and pronouncement are the primary contributor in the U.S. decline that we're experiencing. Yeah. We've lost a good bit of revenue in that department. I knew Canada specifically. I knew Canada wasn't playing. That started with the initial tariffs that we put on them. And when they boycotted some of our American products. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of losses there. I'm curious as to what area that we're making more money in. An area that we're making more money in is being beneficial. Do we have any numbers on that? Do Trump supporters have any numbers on that? Or do they just have rhetoric? We just have rhetoric. Not to mention what's taking place in the ballroom. We still have that.
God bless you.
Mr. Mayhem's no longer with us. Yeah. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Uniquely, for knocking out those finger hearts. I appreciate you. W's in the chat to y'all. Israeli surveillance? I mean, you guys did see the report of Texas, right? Texas using 83,000 flock cameras to find a woman who had an abortion here. Did you guys see that?
God bless you.
Thank you, Survive, for the rhythm bot. Thank you so much. Did you guys see that? Here in Texas, a woman had an abortion. They used 83,000 flock cameras, many of which were not in Texas, to try and find her. Now imagine that. This is the problem with states' rights, or the Republican position on states' rights. It doesn't exist. If I can do something in another state, and it's legal in that state, so I go to that state to have it done, why should I fear prosecution when I return? Or better yet, I'm unable to return if I come back. Unable to return if there's going to be people waiting to arrest me. And then it's not consistent. There are states that never mind. This is when I was in Kentucky. So when I was in Kentucky, we were about an hour away from Illinois. We were right at the Illinois border where I lived. Okay. And an hour into Illinois, I can be chilling in my car, blazing it up. I don't smoke, but I could be chilling in my car, blazing it up. No problems. No problems whatsoever. Could you imagine if this methodology was consistent? If it was illegal for me to smoke in Kentucky, and then I went to Illinois Kentucky can then utilize surveillance systems that people did not vote for, have input in with the flock cameras. They can then use surveillance from these AI little cameras to find me, use this information against me, and prosecute me upon me returning. If you think that sounds ridiculous, it's the exact same argument for women who go to a legal state to have an abortion. People like Katie Cox, who couldn't come back to Texas because they tried to say you leaving the state for an abortion was illegal. Shit is insane. Shit is insane. Our state will also mail out those pills. Yeah, so they were trying to fight the mailing out of those pills. I'm not sure what it is from state to state, but I think there was a recent ruling that protected states mailing it to people, if I'm not mistaken. Hector needs a keeping it a $1.50 hat. I do say that a lot. I do say that a lot. It doesn't matter what state you're in, you can't smoke and drive. Yeah, I don't know where I said that you can. You guys have tracking problems. Some of y'all have some tracking problems, bro. Also, I did do a tap counter for the TikTokers. I did finally hook up a tap counter for the TikTokers so we can look at the top 10. I can occasionally put that on, and it looks like our top tapper is Kristen? Kristen or Kirsten? It's kind of hard to see. I have to change the colors there. Hold on. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Well, one, I need to crop this out, actually. Hold, please. I'm going to crop this out because there's no reason for it to be that big. And then there we go. So shout out to Kristen, Vincent, Fox the Rocks, Ari, Red Expo Marker, Shauna the Blood. I can't even read that one. Nova, Cassie, Girl Loves Blue. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. You guys are the top tappers. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. And we're going to get back to doing some competitions for the top tappers. Whoever the top tapper is at the end of the live, not this one, we're going to do it in the future, will be gaining something off the shop. So I want to reward you guys more for your engagement. It's very much appreciated. To the people who are unable to donate, you're just as important as the people who can. So I want to make sure that I do something for everybody. I appreciate you guys for the tapping. I don't know about that Shauna lady, though. That's crazy. States have been changing sterilization rules, saying we cannot consent to it cognitively. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. W's to everyone. Hi, Penny. Hope you're doing well. The bone. 90% of both sides can't actually back up their arguments or only use very surface level research at most. You know what kind of people say this the most? Dumb fucks. You know what group of people say this the most? Dumb fucks. And here's how I know dumb fucks say this the most. You can't possibly and objectively look at the right and look at the left and say that the majority of the arguments that they make, actually, fuck that. Let me make this very specific, because any old leftist can start a live and say shit, right? And a lot of times, funny enough, I was just talking about this with someone the other day. The people that you have on panels, sometimes when they start their own lives, you start to realize their arguments fall apart really quickly because they're just recycling talking points that they hear from other people who actually read. So let's talk specifically about creators, a certain demographic of creators, okay? If we're comparing leftist creators to right-wing creators, if we're comparing them specifically by people who do lives and debate formats versus just videos, because that's another thing. I notice a lot of right-wingers love videos. The video can go viral.
God
Millions of
bless
people
you.
can see it. Thank you so much, Penny, for the finger hearts. However, you can put anything into a video, and so long as it feeds into something someone believes, that video will pop off. All of my live clips, as you guys have seen me do time and time again, they're vetted. The information that's vetted there, I will debunk. I'll put my sources up. Every single thing is proven. That is why you do not And I would encourage every last one of you who watches my videos to check the comment section. You don't see MAGAs commenting on my videos. YouTube, at the most, you're going to get people trying to say shit. Most of the time, it's not actually relevant to the content of the video. Majority of the time. Seriously, if you're ever just bored, just go look at the comment section of my videos. You won't see MAGAs in there. You know where they comment the most? Here in this live stream. Here in this live stream. Because they can just chirp and do whatever. In the videos that they actually watch, the ones who actually finish them, because most of them don't, they have nothing to say. Because I am very much accurate in the shit that I put out on my videos. You can catch me slipping on the live stream. You can catch me in a mistake and I'll correct it. In my video, I spend hours vetting every single thing said before I put it out. Because in the off chance that that video does go viral, I will be damned if I have to go put out a correction that 100 people will see versus the video that thousands, hundreds of thousands can see. That's the difference between the sides. So yeah, anyone who literally believes that Democratic social media commentators, live debaters, or anything of the case cannot prove 90% of the things that they say compared to the left being the exact same number, you're ignorant. You don't validate anything. Actually, that's literally what that tells me. That tells me you're the stupid 90% because you don't verify the stuff that's being said. And I'm putting this on both sides. There's a lot of you guys who listen to me, and I appreciate your trust in the things that I'm saying, but I more so want you to appreciate the fact that I prove it. Don't think just because I'm fucking cute and I talk quickly and I know a lot of stuff, that means I'm right about everything. You should believe me because I'm able to prove everything that I say, not just because I say it in a way that makes me sound smart. There's a lot of fast-talking, rambling-ass buffoons on this app that say some bullshit, and you think it's smart because they sound that way. That is one of the dangers. You hear people saying a lot of stuff that doesn't make it true. Taxpaying American is one of those great examples, that other creator on TikTok. He will cite cases. He will cite cases, case after case after case. When you read the case, it doesn't mean what he's saying. But he can cite some cases. That is the danger. That is the danger. Hector was right about everything. You stop that, Mind Waba. You stop that. Don't talk him up. No, that's not talking him up. That's not talking him up. I can cite a lot of stuff. Doesn't mean the stuff that I'm citing proves my point. There's a people who can say a lot of words. They can chirp a lot. They can't prove a lot. So no, me saying he can cite cases is not a compliment. You know how many people can cite S4361 without mentioning a single provision of the bill? Oh, summon him? No, he'll never come up in my live. He'll never come up in my live. He got up on Erica's live. He doesn't come up in my live. I love my friend Erica, but she's a little bit nicer to certain people than I am. There are people who frequent her lives that will never come into mine. He is one of them. He actually got up on her panel. The only way I debated him is because I had to get up on his. He'll send a minion to try and lure you over. Yeah, there's that. You know what's common with them? They'll often like have cronies who watch them, and then they'll come in and say, this person cooked you. That's what they've still been doing with Wilson. None of them can tell me how, but they'll still say it. That's why I don't pay much attention to the comments. I find it interesting how we literally had not only the Biden administration, but even the Trump administration literal confirmed reports of bots, paid bots, who are going out into live spaces and comment sections and putting anything there to spread propaganda, particularly for Russia. We literally have this confirmed under both administrations. However, for some reason, y'all still don't get it. Do you guys remember back when X for a moment would show the origin of accounts? Do you guys remember that? They put out an update and they quickly rescinded it that started to show the origin, like the location of X accounts. And there was all those screenshots and all those reports of these pro-Russian accounts or pro-Trump accounts, right? The ones who were saying that the Keystone Pipeline affected gas prices, the ones that are talking about Biden having significant mental decline, or specifically, not amnesia. What's that specific thing they say Biden had? Why am I blanking on it right now? Dementia, right? The ones that said he had dementia, the ones that said that President Donald Trump added the least amount to the national debt, the ones that said that E. Jean Carroll was a liar, all of these accounts, when you checked out the actual location, where was they coming from? Fucking places like Uganda. You saw quite a bit in Russia. You saw, I didn't see any in China. Personally, I didn't see any in China.
God bless you.
I did see a whole lot in Africa. I did see a good bit in Russia. I did see a good bit in all these other places. Shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. And despite those reports, no one seemed to question the news sources that they were getting things from. I've been the quickest to say this. X is a resource that you can use to maybe start on certain topics. I get a lot of clips that I play for you guys. Thank you guys for the finger hearts. I appreciate you. I get a bunch of clips from X, but please understand that before I play that clip for you guys, I'm verifying the content of it and the claims that are being made. There's a lot of people who just take the clips and they just run with it. They just run with it. So no. Oh, I don't disagree. I have an X account solely for politics. And it's not even a Hector Talks X account where I post stuff. It's literally just a burner I can use for information. I refuse. I'm only debating it for monetization reasons. But I hate X. I hate X. Up Down for Life, I see your question. If you're still in the live right now, all it is we join one of the voice chats. So if you look down in the Discord, you're going to see Socialize, Live After Party, and in those two Discords, Live After Party is where we specifically go. I'll always rename it to the movie that we're watching that night, but we always have movie nights in the Live After Party, and then I'll change it to the name of the after party. So that's where the things will happen. If you're in the Discord, that will be the chat, but that's not for another 2 hours and 7 minutes, which we may not even be live that long because we are whooping the Trump supporters' asses and they don't like it. They're getting awfully quiet, which is crazy because I actually thought that they would have a lot more to say about Fauci. I know one of the Fauci hearings was today. I did not watch it. I did see a couple clips of it, and it's mostly just people trying to get him in gotchas. Everyone's talking about how he pled the fifth. And what's his name, Paul, is now trying to say that he's going to suffer the consequences of pleading the fifth. His actual fucking right. Excuse me. He's trying to say he's going to suffer the consequences of pleading the fifth. But what's funny, right-wing networks are not playing this clip. I'm going to put it up for you. Right-wing networks are not playing this clip. The clip where he literally explained why he's pleading the fifth to certain questions. So I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Let me see if I can get it open here. Also, this reminds me, there's another thing we need to talk about. There's a whole nother thing we need to talk about. But I'm going to play this clip for you guys here. Once I get it up, Google Chrome. Yeah, this works. I'm going to crop it out a little bit more. Why is this not working? Here we go. So, there was a reason Fauci cited for pleading the fifth that everyone's conveniently leaving out of the conversation. So I figured I'd go ahead and add the context that Trump supporters refuse to acknowledge. Let me refresh it.
Paul's obvious obsession with given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you. Given Senator Paul.
Now, I kind of don't like his answer personally. I'll explain why in a second. But he has a point. He has a point. What we have seen time and time again when it comes to these subpoenas that they've been issuing to anyone who has supported Democrats or been a Democratic official is that they've mostly been for show. Meanwhile, we cannot get Trump officials, many of them, to testify honestly about some things, such as Pam Bondi, right? Pam Bondi had a closed door little hearing with officials where we do not know anything that was said, where she never answered all these different questions. She just tried to pass the baton on to Todd Blanche and didn't actually address her misconduct or mishandling, of the Epstein files during her time as the DOJ Attorney General. But I say all this to say, what we saw specifically, let's go back to Epstein, with Bill and Hillary Clinton. I'll be the quickest to say Bill Clinton may very much have done what he did, 6,000%. What I find interesting about the hyper-focus of Republicans on Bill Clinton and the Epstein files is that Bill Clinton accepted their subpoena. Hillary Clinton accepted their subpoena. We have the entire stream of their subpoena hearing where they answered questions on behalf of their relationship and knowledge of Epstein. Hillary, that was a monumental waste of time, and they did that shit for a stunt. However, Bill Clinton, viable reason. He answered their questions. He went on about his business. We can't get other prominent people who have had a relationship with him, business dealings, conspirings. We can't get other people to testify under oath with a subpoena. But the Bill Clinton, the Democrats were the one to do it. We can't get Donald Trump to answer honest questions about his relationship. He lied time and time again about the birthday card, about his relationship with him, about not knowing certain people at this time, about kicking them out of clubs allegedly because of these reasons, which would only imply that you knew they were a pedophile the entire time and you chose to do nothing about it. We can't get those ones answered honestly. So Fauci's going, I'm tired of y'all's political stunts. I am not going to answer y'all's questions so you can pull these gotchas and have a reason to come after me for no fucking... Again, if Fauci did something wrong, just provide the evidence. That's it. One of the examples, and I watched a clip of this. I cannot find it, so I'm not going to pull it up. But I watched a clip of this. One of the examples was, what's that name of that one Republican representative? He tried to get him on pregnant women upon going to the office because there was obviously the discrepancy between if pregnant women can get it, which one is it safe, right? So there was some back and forths about that. On 1 week, according to him, and I'm not even going to say this is wrong, but I'm just saying according to him, 1 week a woman go in, say it's safe. The next week they said it's not, according to this senator. Now, as we know, when it came to the pandemic, there was new updating and changing information surrounding how we would tackle it. That's how science works, right? You test, you verify, you update, you change regulations upon new information. We were figuring a lot of shit out as we went. And now they're using this area, this gray area of when we were validating some of the things that we were finding and the rushing of it to say that there were people who had gross amounts of misinformation, misconduct, and all this different crap. It's stupid. Exactly. That's literally how science works. Rule out as you go. Literally how it works. So now we are arguing against the processes of science. Meanwhile, no one can seem to actually substantiate where the actual wrongdoing was. Was there something that was proven to be significantly harmful to the American people, and then we still greenlit it anyway? That's what I want to know, and I've been asking for years. In fact, hold on. Let's do an invisible prompt. So the main prompt here is, Trump supporters, do you regret your vote? If you are a Trump supporter who does not regret your vote, this live is a safe space for you to come up here and express all the reasons that made you get up off the MAGA plantation. And if you are a Trump supporter who does not regret your vote, I can give you several reasons as to why you should. Request up in the box or call in the number on screen, 737-295-5321 on YouTube. The invisible prompt, I've decided to do this. I am fully ready right here, right now, to endorse a Republican candidate. And I'm not just talking about people running in midterms, any Republican. I'm going to open up the floor to endorsing a single Republican candidate if they do three things. Okay? So I will endorse a Republican candidate who tells the honest truth about racism, racism, January 6th, and the pandemic. If you are a Trump supporter and you can show me a single Republican representative, candidate, whatever, if you can show me one that tells the truth about racism, January 6th, and the pandemic, I will endorse them right now. The movie 715, CST. I will endorse them right now. I've literally thought about changing my live with this topic, but then I think that would be a monumental waste of time. That would discourage people from calling in. Asking Trump supporters to prove stuff, unfortunately, discourages people from calling in. Most of them try to use your live as like a therapy chair. But yeah. See, I didn't want to do that one, Dayglow, because if I do that one, I'm going to get my live flagged. And basically, January 6th goes into that topic. But I specifically like to talk about January 6th because there's still a growing number of people who believe that it was just a tourist attraction, that people did not harm officers, that damage wasn't done, that they weren't chanting "Hang Mike Pence." That specifically is my contention. There are still people who believe that Donald Trump in no way, shape, or form played a role in instigating the crowd that showed up there that day, which is insane. Yes, he did. I made a video on that back in 2024. He called January 6th a day of love. He sure did. He sure did. He called domestic terrorists lovers of this country, true patriots. And then went as far as to trying to pay them financial compensation for their terrorism, for being justly prosecuted for their terrorism. Something that's currently still being litigated in court. Yeah. There's many videos and documentaries about it, footage from the Gen 6s themselves. Yeah. Yeah, that was a part of the investigations. Literally, the part of the investigations. If you look up, 4 Hours at the Capitol, and what's that other big one? I'm blanking on the other big one. This more so talked about the process before the actual day. But 4 Hours at the Capitol was a really good one. A lot of the footage that is shown, a lot of the prosecutions that our investigators were able to get charges on these people was not from leftists recording them. It was from their own recordings. The people there, their recordings of them breaking windows, their recordings of them assaulting police officers, their recordings of smearing shit and everything else on the walls. I had that one clip that I played on live. It's available in one of my videos on my profile, where the dude was literally chanting, "Take everything you want, it's ours. Steal the laptops, take this, take that." They were literally stealing shit from representatives. Yeah. It was their recordings. That's how we were able to get so many people. And then when it comes to law and order, when it comes to how the DOJ and whatever else went after these people, they said we were unjustly prosecuting them. Literally had a dude taking shit, literally had a dude chanting "Hang Mike Pence," literally had the QAnon shaman doing what he did. And they said, "Oh, well, he's innocent." Most of them have never watched the footage. You know, the big talking points are the FBI plants in the crowd, which they'll literally be under Trump. The FBI plants in the ground, the police officers who welcomed them in and walked them around. I've tired of explaining time and time again the reason for that specifically. And Donald Trump said peacefully and patriotically. Oh, and then, of course, he wanted 10,000 agents there, and Nancy Pelosi took them down. Or turned them down. Yeah. Same shit. Same shit. Really and truly, the big thing surrounding what took place on January 6th and election integrity here in the United States is find me 11,000 votes. No Trump supporter has addressed that with me. And I've been doing this for going on 2 years. Not a single Trump supporter has addressed that with me. Find me 11,000 votes. Going back and forth with Georgia representatives for that. I mean, if you can find a clip of Joe Biden saying, hey, find me roughly 8 million votes so I can beat Trump, we can talk about it. It doesn't exist. That's another big one, too, the people who challenge that. They don't understand the crazy circumstances surrounding more people than ever who are locked at home, actually paying attention to politics and choosing to vote in that election. Shit's weird. Shit's weird. Alrighty, guys, we are 12 minutes away or 11 minutes away from the 2-hour mark. Do you guys think we should hold out for a couple minutes before we do a restart? Should we do the restart now? Thank you guys for your heart me's. I appreciate you. Make sure you're sending your daily heart me's if you have not already. If you're grayed out in the chat, you're GOP. Send your daily heart me's in the top left corner. If you can't, that's because you're not following me. Consider hitting that follow button. We are live every Saturday after 3 p.m. CST and randomly throughout the week. Because I think we should do it now. I've already been chirping for a while, and y'all know me. I don't like to just yap. I like to engage. But then you have to have other people to engage with, and we quite frankly. We scared all the ones with brains off. Actually, that's giving them too much credit. So many of these patriots have been arrested for violent crimes against women and children. Yeah, no one talks about that either. The charges that they had pending beforehand, they literally justified their crimes by saying that they weren't criminals. Yeah. Alrighty, since we did pass over 200,000 likes. Thank you guys for that. We're gonna do a quick restart. In the meantime, between time, if you guys go to my latest video on my profile, go give that a watch. That's roughly 3 minutes. Give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment, give it a save, whatever the options are on TikTok. By the time you're done watching that video and coming back, those of you who are going to do it, I will be back on live. Those of you who are not going to go watch the video, literally give me 30 seconds. It's just going to take me a quick 30 seconds or less to do a quick little refresh here. And we will come right back. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. YouTube, stick around. You're fine. Let me do this restart. Okay, there we go. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. I scared him off, bro. I scared him off, bro. Do you guys remember that guy we spoke to the other day? The guy we spoke to the other day who was just like, oh my gosh, this is why people don't call in anymore. Because you just cut them off. I'm like, yeah. People don't call in as much because they don't have as much to defend, for one. Friendly reminder that Trump supporters are declining. The support for the Trump administration has declined quite a bit. You can see that in polling. We can see that in primaries. We can see that in special elections, consumer sentiment. The support has changed drastically from what it used to be. Because on one hand, it's easy to say Trump's going to do all these different things when he's just talking about it. On the other hand, when he's actually trying to implement said policies, that's when you start to lose a lot of ground. And then what I've consistently found with that demographic, with that base, is that it gets increasingly hard to engage in a debate of any kind with someone who knows what they're talking about. It gets very hard to defend Trump if the opposing side knows what they're talking about. When I say that the Trump administration does not, yes, I just have to do a restart, Ari. When I say that the Trump administration does not respect the Constitution and the rule of law, I can prove that. I can prove that with several amendments. When I say that the Trump administration is contradictory in their sentiments about states' rights, in their sentiments about protecting women, in their sentiments about reducing trafficking of children, I can prove all of that. When I say that the Trump administration is well documented to be the biggest sets of lies we've ever seen in American politics, I can prove that. And the reason why I know is because of what you guys respond with. If I say the Trump administration cannot be trusted with the majority of things that they say because they lie so much, and your response is, well, everybody lies, thank you for proving the point. Thank you for proving the point. because you're leaving out the nuance in these conversations and the fact that the Democrats are actively, and people on the left are actively trying to vote out the individuals who are responsible for so much of the nonsense that we're seeing and playing in our faces about actually making change, versus the Republicans who eat up these lies time and time again. You can find that out in every single hearing that we see, where a Republican will not say who won the 2020 election. Casey, what the fuck is up? Where have you been? Where have you been? Guys, continue to double tap that screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 10K and beyond. Share out the live with your friends and family as well. Give it a good repost and add to your story. If you haven't sent your daily heartbeats, please make sure you do so in the top left corner. Let's knock out some of these little roses to get us boosted out on the FYP. And we'll go ahead and open the floor here to the Trump supporters. If you are a Trump supporter who regrets your vote, this live is the safe space for you. I created this platform to speak to these individuals because of just how much they've been losing. And let me be clear. When I say Republicans have been losing, I really don't mean Republicans specifically. America is losing, but specifically for the Republicans who voted for the complete opposite of what Donald Trump is doing when it comes to no new wars and what he's doing in Iran, when it comes to reducing the cost of healthcare as he's actively gutting subsidies to increase the price with no responsible replacement. When it comes to dignity, human dignity, literally one of the 7 core principles of conservatism, according to Mike Johnson, where he violates the ones for the people who look differently, for the people whose gender does not specifically align with their binary views of it. That is not consistent with GOP standards. Allegedly. Allegedly. We played that video the other day of, Mike Johnson going over the 7 core principles of conservatism. And one of them being limited government has to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. There is nothing that's limited about the Trump administration's policies. They are quite literally trying to get their hands involved in anything. Enacting socialist policy here, there, and everywhere. We can talk about the bank accounts, the Trump accounts for children born after 2026, or is it 2025 or 2026? From 1 to 18, starting off with $1,000 of investments. That's a pretty socialist policy, don't you think? That's a pretty socialist policy. Life has been lifing. I feel you there. I got to hit you up, actually. That's a very socialist policy. When it comes to the United States putting 10% or having 10% of, NVIDIA, taking stock in these companies, that's a very socialist policy. When he ran off of and quickly abandoned the government paying for IVF to fund women having babies, that's a pretty socialist policy.
God bless you.
W's in the chat to Ari. Shout out to Ari. Thank you so much for knocking out the DJ glasses in the gift gallery. Big W's to you. Big W's to you. I'm going to need to see some W's in the chat to Ari, bro. I'm going to need to see some big W's in the chat to Ari. I appreciate your support. Guys, anyone else wants to help support the platform, anything in the gift gallery that is grayed out helps a ton. Helps us keep boosted on the FYP and maintain our league. It helps a ton. Helps a ton. Helps a ton. Anyways, when he said that the government was going to pay for IVF, that's very, very, very much a socialist policy. Federalizing elections, that's very big government. That's extremely big government. Taking that power away from the states to determine how they administer their ballots, their polling centers, all these different things, that is huge government. Directly goes against states' rights. So yeah, all the Trump administration taught those of us on the left is that it's not that right-leaning people don't like socialism. They just like a particular form. In fact, they've shown that they love socialism. Every single person who is complimenting many actions of the Trump administration, you're showing that you're for socialism. You just like the GOP method of it, which is inconsistent, by the way. Very inconsistent. I just want to point that out. Any case, Trump supporters request up in the box. You are the demographic of people I'd like to have a conversation with. If you're over on the tube side, you may call the number on screen, 737-295-5321. Yes, exactly, Ari. They like their brand of socialism. And the invisible prompt that I will allow you to address, I am willing to endorse any Republican official, representative, if they can be honest about January 6th, the pandemic, and racism. If you can give me the names of a Republican official that has been completely honest about those three things, I will endorse them right here, right now, on live. Sure will. Sure will. Speaking of endorsements, the Trump administration's endorsements to several GOP representatives across the country have been very telling of the things he's willing to excuse, or better yet, the things that are not deal breakers to him, because he would have been in many cases convicted of or civilly liable of them, some things themselves. Donald Trump's endorsement of Ken Paxton, an individual who's cheated with his wife, who was seen abroad with his mistress, individual who was indicted over fraud, an individual who gave a sweetheart deal to a child toucher here in the state of Texas for 1 month that he didn't even fully serve or fully finish out. That makes sense. Then we can talk about his endorsement of, I think he walked it back now in Henry Cuellar. I think he may have walked that one back. But we can talk about the endorsement that he also did for Rick Jackson. We can talk about that endorsement. Also, we have another Republican representative who is apparently putting hands on his child and physically may have harmed his wife. Did you guys hear about that? Max Miller in Ohio? Did you guys hear about Max Miller in Ohio? So I've talked about him quite a bit last year. Max Miller caught my attention specifically when he was allegedly ran off the road by a pro-Palestine nut job. He was allegedly ran off the road by one of these individuals and used that to spark some type of Zionist support for the country. Follow up with recently, because he's in a custody battle with his ex-wife. Apparently the man's been putting hands on her. His child is on record for saying, "Daddy's house is scary." His child is on record for saying, "Daddy's house is scary." Yeah. Apparently this guy is a piece of shit. And I want to go ahead and read some of these things with you. Now, any representative on any side can be a piece of shit, but I think we quickly saw, specifically with the likes of Graham Plattner, when sexual assault allegations came out against him, that was our line. Other things, we was like, okay, if you grew as a person, you grew as a person. Sexual assault allegation came out, we got him up out the paint. The individual earlier on the year with those other Swalwell, we got him up out the paint. But this guy just keeps going. He just keeps going. So let me go ahead and read this story for you guys. In mid-March, 2 detectives, an Ohio County Division of Children and Family Services caseworker, and a Cleveland Clinic physician met on Zoom to discuss how the 2-year-old daughter of a congressman and granddaughter of a U.S. senator wound up with a broken collarbone. The bruising surrounding the clavicle fracture made the injury suspicious, wrote one of the detectives who summarized the Zoom meeting. Further, someone on the call advised the injury would have required a high degree of impact to occur. Also, trigger warning, because this could include child abuse and also domestic violence against women. Neither the child's father, Max Miller of Ohio, nor mother, conservative policy advisor Emily Moreno, admitted to knowing what caused their daughter's injury or that it occurred while their daughter was under their care. Miller's primary theory was that the bruising resembled marks from a seatbelt. Moreno, who discovered the bruises and took the child to an emergency room, so she would have discovered them after getting the daughter from him, suggested the cause may have been something more sinister. Records of the investigation into potential child abuse show that Moreno told detectives that Miller had previously thrown hot water at her, shoved her, and held a gun to her head. Therefore, she couldn't rule out that Miller caused their daughter's fracture. Moreover, a child protection specialist reviewing the incident had characterized the bruising near the fracture as resembling a handprint. Really quickly, I just want to talk about this. A fracture. If the best argument you can have for your child having a fracture is that it could have been caused by a fucking seatbelt, I think you're guilty as hell. I want to be clear. What we're reading from Moreno are allegations. 6,000%. What we're reading from Moreno are allegations. Thank you guys for the follows. But I think it's telling if a fracture in your child's, hold on, what was the area again? Clavicle. If a fracture in your child's clavicle is blamed by a fucking seatbelt, you're full of shit. Can we agree on that? Really, hold on, real shit. Can we agree on that? Because then are you now alleging that there was some kind of accident that took place where the seatbelt was restricted and the force of how the child was thrown caused it? Because that's not in the reports. You said this could have been caused by a seatbelt, but he was unable to cite any accident that could have caused this thing. I know you guys agree with that. I'm more so saying this for the Trump supporters who are crying in the comments. I'm more so saying this for the woman specifically who just said Trump is a great leader. Fucking insane. I think we should be able to universally agree that if your response to a clavicle fracture in your child is that it was caused by a seatbelt, I think we should be able to agree that you're lying your ass off. Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Daddy's house is scary. Moreno recounted her daughter saying, according to a Bay Village, Ohio investigative report relating to the February 2026 injury. Moreno is the wife, the ex-wife. Well, are they divorced yet or are they in the pending a divorce? I may be pending divorce. The summary of the Zoom meeting and investigative report are among more than 2,000 pages of court filings and police reports pertaining to Miller that Mother Jones obtained through public records requests. The trove of documents contains allegations of substance use by Miller, misogyny and verbal abuse, and violent behavior against multiple women. The filings also include evidence that Miller implicitly, thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you so much, Taylor, for the gift. I appreciate you. That Miller implicitly threatened his ex-father-in-law, Senator Bernie Moreno. This was the threat. He said, quote, "Take this however you want. Everyone is going to get to know you better than your wife does. Enjoy the ride, brother. I wouldn't have to do this if you could keep your lying daughter under control." Oh, wow. Some of the accusations contained in the records have not been conclusively proven by a court or law enforcement agency, and it's possible they never will be. Cuyahoga County's DCFS investigation into possible child abuse was unsubstantiated. That is, there was not enough evidence to support a finding of neglect or abuse. Additionally, Emily Moreno never filed a police report against Miller from harm she says he inflicted on her. She told the detective investigating the collarbone fracture that she feared no one would believe her. Still, the records pose troubling questions about the conduct of a sitting lawmaker, and his ongoing and increasingly bitter legal battle with his ex-wife, I was correct, may complicate his re-election bid. Throughout the legal filings, Moreno alleges that Miller was an absentee father and abusive husband whose history of violence and misconduct dates back more than a decade. Some of the accusations she raised are previously unreported, and Mother Jones has also identified new details about incidents that have already become public. Really quickly, I just want to say this. Let me make sure I'm going to word this right. Let me make sure I word this right. Okay. So the reasons are different. But I was in a relationship in the past, so this was a long time ago, where I was beaten, right? I was hit. And I just didn't do anything about it because my belief system was obviously as a man, you don't hit women, don't even defend yourself, right? Max Miller, the representative in Ohio. So that was my thought process. I just never defended myself. So in these circumstances, whenever this thing took place, what she would weaponize is the gender dynamic, right? The gender norms that we've all established, which is the majority of times when we are thinking about domestic violence, it is going to be a man towards a woman. And that's reflected in the fucking numbers, to be super duper clear. However, we do know that men can be abused, verbally, physically, so on and so forth. Oh, you guys are good. I don't give a shit. It was so long ago. It's cool now. But this happened to me, right? And one of the things that I did specifically because in an instance where the police could have been called, where an investigation could have started, one of the things that I made sure I had to do, or I at least did and kept to myself, is that I did my best to record it. Audio or video, whatever I could. I did my best to record it. There was a specific instance where the police did have to be called. See, this is the weird stuff that I'm talking about. If the best you guys have, instead of calling the number on screen or requesting up, is let me rape the shit out of your asshole nigger. TikTok, I was just reading a comment from a guest who was blocked. If the best you guys have is that, you're proving my fucking point. Thank you for showing me who you are and why you support the man you support. Because the most you have is spamming the comments with shit like that versus actually addressing the prompt. But I digress. So I kept recordings, and there was an instance where the neighbor under me, hearing the ruckus above, because we were in an apartment above him, that motherfucker called the police. The police came in. Guess what they assumed? They assumed it was me. I was then able to pull up my phone and show him the recording that I took. Now, I am not saying this to say or blame women for, in these instances, not doing all of that. Because first and foremost, when you're with someone you love, that's not the shit you should be thinking about. And that's what people conveniently leave out of the conversation. The first response that always happens whenever these allegations come out, why didn't you report it? Why didn't you have any evidence? So on and so forth. The average person is not believing that they're in a relationship with someone who professes to love them and care about them and so on and so forth. They're not thinking that they have to be a super, I guess, suspicious, critical, that's not the right words. No one's thinking that they're going to have to do all of that. And I'll tell you another thing that people leave out of the conversation. There's always a part of the victim, like the heart of the victim. No matter what the other person, in many cases, no matter what the other person does to them, they still don't want to see harm come to that person. Thank you so much, Mel. Cautious. That was also my circumstance, to where if I wanted to do what the law would have allowed me to do, which is throw her ass in a prison cell, the thought of her being in a prison cell, spending a night there, outweighed the harm she was doing to me. I'm not saying it makes sense. I mean, it does, from how abuse works. But I could not stand the idea of her spending a night in a jail cell, no matter what she did to me. That is something that we do not talk about in these conversations. Whenever you guys say, why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Anyway, with that being said, even if you are a person in this dynamic and you don't feel comfortable reaching out to certain people, do your best. And again, this is not about blame. Do your best to have something, because we know our justice system will fail women and has failed women time and time and time and time and time again. And if it wasn't for that instance where I was able to pull up the recording of my ex cussing me out, beating me across the head with a can opener and the blood, because they saw the blood and they thought she was defending herself. I had to show them the video. I'm so sorry, y'all. This is fucking graphic. I'm about to be done. I had to show them the video of her beating me across the head with a fucking can opener for them to finally go and address her. If it wasn't for that, who knows what could have happened. So, with that being said, it's similar to Stockholm Syndrome? Yeah, literally. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Very much the same thing. Similar things. Ugh. It's okay. That's my point. I was the lucky one. I was one of the lucky ones. That's literally my point. That's literally the point. Anyway. Have you guys heard of Sarah Gilson? The system failed her. Restraining orders don't protect. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. And there's my point. Why stay in the crazy relationship for so long? Why? There's my point right there. There's my point proven right there. You guys are so predictable. You guys are so predictable. Trump supporters request up in the box. You are the demographic of people I'd like to have a conversation with. If you're over on the tube side, you can call the number on screen, 737-295-5321. If you are a Trump supporter who regrets their vote, this live is a safe space for you to come up here and express all the reasons that made you get up off the MAGA plantation. Or if you are a Trump supporter who does not regret your vote, you think he's doing an exceptional job, you think there's something that the left is missing, you may call the number on screen or request up in the box, and I can give you several reasons as to why you're wrong. I also want to point out to Vinny down there, who was crying about how to request, was sent a direct invite. A direct invite? And didn't come up. This is why I don't believe these people when they chirp in the comments. They're literally robots. Jason, did you vote for Trump?
Oh shit! No, I was liking the live. I did not mean to do that.
I appreciate you
I'm
tapping.
trying to
man.
win that tapper leaderboard.
You trying to get a tapper? Actually, let's see where everybody's at really quickly. Ooh, you got to come for Vincent, bro. Vincent's at the top there. Ooh, no, never mind. This isn't updated. Give me a second. I got to update it. This is from before. Hold on. It's going to take a second to update it. Who is the top tapper now? Now I'm curious. Anyway, I appreciate you coming up, boss man.
Appreciate you.
Even though it's accidental. Debbie's in chat. Move it over. I will move it over. I have to refresh it. To see who's the top tapper here now. It's probably Shauna. No, that's still old. Hold on, that's still old. I gotta connect it. Because it shows up in a different tab. Give me a second. Let me make sure that it's working. Top gifters. Here we go. Top liker. So you should be good now. Let's see. Oh my God! It still didn't update. So now if we do a test, let me take that one off. Take that one off. Shh. So it's showing up for me, but it's not updating for y'all. So according to this, Laney is the top tapper. It's not updating on this side for some reason, but according to this, Laney is the top tapper. W Laney. But since we just started, it's not showing too much. Also, this does not count whatever my fault because the way I connected it. This isn't counting every tap before I connected it. This is counting taps afterwards. So there's that. Whoopsies. My bad. My bad. I will give you guys an updated account momentarily. Shouldn't take too long. I'm counting it as a win. That'll work. Yeah, sure you are, bot. This is what happens when Republicans are losing. Do you guys remember the report that came out and it showed that majority of Trump's endorsed candidates won their seats? Do you guys remember that? We had a few people come around the lives and they actually cited that specifically. They said, oh, most of Trump's supporters, or most of Trump's candidates that he endorsed won because they're putting so much backing behind the endorsement. And it's like, okay, winning amongst Republicans in a primary is one thing, which was also super telling as to how many people don't understand the difference between a primary and a general election. That was one of the funniest revelations when you found out just how many people, and I would say the left too, but mostly GOP, the people who do not understand the difference between a primary and a general election. I got a good laugh out of that because these folks was like, look at all these wins from Trump. I'm like, bro, winning amongst yourselves is one thing. What's the purpose of me citing the win that James Talarico had over Jasmine Crockett? That does matter to my side, but the ultimate win is if he can beat Ken Paxton in the general election. It's all it is. But they don't know how this works, which is one of the reasons why they complain about their choices of candidates. You have the ability to choose in a primary amongst the candidates that you like. Not to say that the person you vote for is going to win, but you have that ability to align your vote with the person that you think is ideal for the race that they're running. That's how that works. It's how elections work. I love how the only Trump supporters are Russian bots. Yeah. We just went over this before we did the restart. So many of these accounts, when you actually look at their IP addresses and stuff, they're not in the United States. And then there's the other people who just legitimately have no defense for them. So there's that. What's up, SideQuest? But yeah, then it's all a matter of how many of these people with wavering support with decreasing support amongst their base. All of the individuals who voted for the merging, it passed the House, not the Senate, the merging of Israel's defenses with ours, those guys are losing support. All the people who are supporting the SAVE Act, a lot of those guys are losing support, especially if they're doing it under the guise of holding up housing affordability in the 21st Century Road to Housing Act and all the other provisions. Those guys are losing support. And that's another reason why we're seeing more criticism from Republican representatives, is because come midterms, they're trying to make sure that they win their re-elections. So now they're going, oh, we need to do this. Greg Abbott specifically, Greg Abbott is only calling out the destruction of AI data centers because of the general election in November. Friendly reminder that he full-throated AI data centers before Gina Hinojosa, the Democratic candidate for Texas governor, came on the scene. Now he's pushing for regulations, after initially saying we need all the centers that we can take. I find that to be super duper fascinating. And then I think it's going to be interesting, depending on how the midterms go, because I personally believe we're going to take the House. I think the Senate's going to be tight. But depending on how those races go, I think we're going to see a lot more people do exactly what, what's his name did? Thomas Massey did. We are literally going to see a bunch of people pull a Thomas Massey. They're going to start airing out dirty laundry. They're going to be talking more shit about Israel. They're going to be talking mad shit about Trump. And I'm going to get a good fucking laugh. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey have been some of the loudest people concerning how full of shit Trump is. And now Marjorie's claiming to be independent, and who knows what Thomas Massey's doing. Is Thomas Massey claiming to be independent now? Does anyone know? Let me see if the tap counter updated. I think he still identifies as conservative. The tap counter did not update. I think I'm just going to have to add a different source. Hold, please. Hold, please. Let's do copy URL. Copy URL. He technically was, but had to choose a party, which is why he's a Republican. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Same with, like, I guess, basically Bernie. He identifies an independent, but ultimately most of his policies are Democratic, and he caucuses with them so goddamn much. Yeah, it's literally that. It's literally that. Here we go. Here we go. So as it sits right now, Laney is the top tapper. Still. So we got Laney, Nuclear, Amari's. Okay, Jay now is in third. Amari's fourth. Miss Edwards in fifth. I have to change the color of the font. Also, one of the reasons why I don't put up too much graphics, as you guys just saw, it literally started to lag the damn stream. That's not right. I tapped it so much. So what happened is I connected it back to Tickfinity just a few minutes ago. It did not start from the beginning of the live. That's the reason. So it started from when I connected Tickfinity back up. So how much ever taps you guys put beforehand did not register. That's my fault because I connected it back too late. Yeah. That's why. That's why. Also, yeah, my computer legitimately can't handle this. Holy shit. I just started lagging. My computer legit can't handle that shit. So I can show you guys. I can look on it on Tickfinity. I can't put it up in the source because it will start to lag my computer too much. I hate it here. I hate it here. Hold, please. Let me get this connected on. Move this on this side. You lost 8K?
God bless you.
Yeah, you was up there beforehand. Thank you, Maya, for the roses. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Guys, would you believe me if I told you we have someone in the requests?
Oh, man,
Gerald,
I don't
did
know
you vote
why
for
I'm
Trump?
Yeah, I did, but I regret it.
How old are you?
17.
You're
God bless you.
Thank you, Dean, for the Sea of Love gift. I appreciate you. Woo-wee. Not surprising. Not surprising. Not surprising. Not surprising. The best you can do is children, racist, Nazis, and chickens. I wish I could say that I was surprised. Define a women. Literally point blank, just proving the goddamn point right there.
God bless you.
Chickens? Yeah, chicken shits. Chicken shits. That's what I mean. Chicken shits. Pussies. Them guys. Them guys. Hold, please. Just want to make sure they got this. We may just cut out early, y'all. We'll see. We'll give it a few minutes. But we may just cut out early because they are scared shitless. They are scared shitless. The party of masculinity, pro-masculinity, right? The biggest, manliest of men, the anti-soy boys, are that scared of me. They're literally that scared to request up. That's hysterical. And now we have a maggot that apparently was muted on the YouTube side who's going on a comment spamming spree on my videos. Do you guys remember when I literally said Trump supporters do not address the content of my video in the comment section? Here's a perfect example. So the latest 9-minute video that I put up on YouTube, it was about a guy who called in and he tried to talk shit about Kamala Harris. He said Kamala Harris was a bad candidate. And I said, tell me how. Name one of her policies. He spent 9 minutes unable to. Completely unable to for 9 minutes. So the comment under that video is, I voted against everything you stand for. That just happened to be President Trump. Imagine a video I post articulates that I stand for truth, I stand for accuracy, I stand for common sense policies that overwhelmingly benefit the majority of Americans. Imagine saying, I voted against everything you stand for. Under the next video, I actually don't remember this thumbnail. Hold, please. What did I say in this video? I don't remember what I said in this video. Local commentator. Bam, I just answered your question again. Can you answer mine? Do you regret your vote?
Explain to me an example.
You didn't.
Listen. We the same skin color. We're not.
Yeah, I don't care what your race is.
Trump, all down YouTube. I got a scroll.
Yeah, do you want to answer?
Listen. We the same skin color.
Yeah, this guy. I remember this guy. So this guy said, why should I regret my vote? When I asked him the question, do you? He said, why? And I said, I don't remember the exact example that I gave. He completely dodged it. He then proceeded to talk about how I'm not going to talk to him any kind of way because he's a black conservative. And I said, I just asked you a simple question. I'm not talking to you based off of your fucking race. Your race is irrelevant to the conversation. And then under that video, this guy commented, your mods represent you and they are absolute. No, hold on. He made 2 comments. Excuse me. No one cares if the president lies. President is a puppet. Your focus on one puppet is concerning. We have a 10th Amendment that protects us from what you claim to be against. What? What? No one cares if the president lies is crazy. I think a lot of people cared. I think when you guys went on for 4 years saying that Biden lied about his mental decline, I think it showed that you really cared. I think when you guys for 4 years went on to cry about Democrats and their shutdowns of, I guess, society with the lockdowns, I should say more accurately, I think you guys cared. Oh, under the guise of protecting people, and then you contest those protections. I think you guys cared a lot about the president lying. I think when Joe Biden said that Kamala Harris was one of the most qualified people that he could have picked to be the vice president, I think you guys cared a lot about what you believed he said to be a lie. So this is the problem. Every single time we bring the conversation back to your God and Savior, Donald Jimothy Trump, all of a sudden, all of your values go out the window. The party of small government loved the way he's weaponizing it. The party of voting rights and religious integrity, all of a sudden is against that. The party of protecting children throws children under the bus to protect Donald Trump. The party of law and order has no issues with him whatsoever being found time and time again by even all the way up to the Supreme Court that he had violated that law, that order, the Constitution. Everything goes out the window the second you apply Donald Trump's name to it. And I don't like doing these gotchas, but I've seen it done in live time and time again, where the debater will give an example of something Donald Trump did, but then they'll say Joe Biden instead, or they'll say some Democrat did it instead. They'll be like, hey, so when that one Democrat called for the execution of their political enemies, called them seditionists, do you think that was out of line? Absolutely, that was out of line. Absolutely, that's the kind of rhetoric that contributed to Charlie Kirk dying. Democrats calling for the death of their political opponents is exactly the problem. Y'all fascists. And then they went, Donald Trump called for the death of political opponents on the Democratic side. And then they go, well, what's the context? Then we have the one where he says, do you think Democrats locking up people for crimes they did not commit is wrong? Absolutely. Them Democrats were locking up Christians. You remember that? Them Democrats were locking up the Christians. I'll never forget that. They locked up Christians. They locked up anyone who was against the vaccine. They locked us up for their liberty. Yeah. You disagree with that? Absolutely. So do you guys remember when Donald Trump started locking up people or detaining people for vandalism of a reflecting pool that he fucked up? No, there's the proof. We seen it. We seen the guy go there with the big knife and do the 350-foot slash. It changes every single time. So I don't like when they do that. I feel like I can show Donald Trump's a piece of shit without giving that, like, reversing roles thing. However, I do find it to be very funny how many times you can put something in front of their face that Donald Trump did, just change it to a Democrat or Joe Biden, and they hate it. Put Donald Trump's name on it, it becomes valid. I'm just making a point. Why do I feel like I'm going to regret answering this phone?
Call from
Dean.
To accept, press 1.
Dean, you're on the line. Did you vote for Trump?
No, I didn't.
Did you vote in the 2024 election?
Yeah, I voted for Kamala.
Okay. What do you got?
I just wanted to ask. All right, so are you black or African American?
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, like, how you feel as a black man. How do you feel about, like, other people in your community who support Trump? Like, do you think that is a level of, I'm trying to think of cognitive dissonance that goes beyond, like, for instance, like Latino voters? There's Latino Trump voters as well. What do you think about, like, people who like that, who inherently vote against their interests?
Comes from a lack of education, self-hatred, or extreme level of selfishness. It's
Okay.
either people think that they can be the exception to the standard America set on the treatment of their demographic, which is where the selfishness comes in. Well, they'll like me, but I don't care what they do to anyone else. Or it's the lack of understanding about their own roots and history and their ignorance to the things taking place on their community. Or just the fact that they're stupid. Like, I talk to a lot of stupid people. Like, black people will
Right.
call in the line, and their response is Democrats started the Triple K. And it's like, oh, you're one of those. Where they have to go all the way back in history to justify Republicans because they were the party that freed the slaves. And then all the Republican values that they had at the time and their support for black people went out the window after the Southern strategy. So that's what I would say about them.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It stems from a lack of understanding, and I don't know, maybe a part of self-hatred. Like, I know for Latino voters who voted for Trump, I feel like Latin voters, they can feel like part of the reason as to why they voted like that was because they kind of feel left out of the racial minority group because, black people are the backbone of the racial minority group in the United States. They make up, like, at least from what I remember, they make up like most of the, they're the most major minority. And I think a large part as to why a lot of Latino voters.
Black people are not the major minority in the United States.
Is that right?
No. They are the most consistent and dedicated voting bloc of the Democratic Party, but they do not make up the majority minority of the United States compared to others. Are you a white man?
Yeah, I'm a white man.
Oh. Curious to what your interest or investment is in these topics, in these questions about races you don't belong to.
Well, my wife is Latina, and I live in an all-black neighborhood, and I talk to my neighbors about this stuff. So, it's just interesting to hear from other people's perspective in regards to their racial identity.
Do you have black Democratic friends?
Yeah.
What would you say their positions are on the questions you asked me?
Pretty similar. But there's also a lot of my friends aren't as invested into like history and politics as I am. So, they usually give a good amount of leeway to black conservatives in terms of like, policy.
Fascinating. And does your wife, you said you have a Latino wife, does she vote for Democrats as well?
She didn't vote.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she wasn't really into politics until I started like talking to her about it. But we're scared every day, worried that ICE might come after her family members.
Does she feel the same way about not voting that she did in 2024?
Well, now she, I feel like she's more inclined to vote. I'm gonna be taking her to the November primaries.
Well, first off, I don't think you should have to take her to in the sense of like make her.
No.
Encourage you to continue to have the conversations that you've been having with her and get her to understand the significance of voting. I would encourage you to have her sit down with you actually when you are consuming political lives and content and actually watch them with her to help you along the way.
Right. Yeah, no, she's always she's with me most of the time. So most of the time she's usually watching the same stuff that I'm watching and whatever. I study political science. I specialize on fascist history. So I've talked to her probably hours and hours, probably too much.
I think when we see the impact of it, obviously, I guess respectful breaks is important. But if it's that important to you, then and your partner cares about you, I would say it should be as important to them. But at this point, just encourage. Don't beat them over the head. Just encourage, and that can help a ton. But I appreciate you calling in. It did feel kind of weird, but genuine questions are genuine questions. I can get how a lot of white people on the left are curious about black people's takes on, or other minority takes on their own, especially if he's in a black community, which, to his admittance, apparently the black Democrats in his region don't talk about or really get into the other side of their race voting that way. So, curiosity is cool. Initially I was like, what the fuck are we doing? But I get his curiosity. It literally sounds like he is more political than most people around him. And from that aspect, I can understand why you'd have those questions. It sounds like he's the most political people of his demographic, the people around him, it sounds like. Anyway. Your volume is always low. I can barely hear you most of the time. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Put a 2 in the chat if you can't. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Put a 2 in the chat if you can't. It is low. Now I have my gain up on full. The fuck you mean 1 and 2, Ari? 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly, 2 in the chat if not. Somebody said half, you talk low sometimes. Well, yeah, that's different. If I'm talking low, yeah, I'm going to sound lower. And I'm mostly talking lower now because we're not even talking to Trump supporters. So I'm not talking over anyone or anything like that. So yeah, of course I sound low right now because I was talking lower. I don't know. Put your volume on full. Are y'all's volumes on full? You can't fucking hear me? You may need a new phone. It's lower when I've called. Yes, it is. So the way my mixer is set up currently, which is the entire fucking reason why I have to get a new computer, because the mixer I have is not the best, I cannot adjust their volume to be lower than mine. So what often happens is when we do have a caller, I do have to speak up over them. And that's the only way to ensure that you guys can hear me. But yeah, because their volume is default and mine is finicky. So there's that. No, I can't turn my volume up. The gain is on max and there's no other meter for volume. Steel series, I don't know what that is. And if it's for, I have a different process as well because I have a Mac. And my mixers are completely digital. I'm going to get the hardware. Your mic was softer after the restart? I feel like I just talked lower after the restart. Because I'm losing steam. I feel like I just talked lower after the restart. I don't think that it got lower. I just started talking lower. Yeah. There's a Mac. There's your problem. I had a setup for the Mac, but just my computer, it can't handle all the things because we're streaming to YouTube right now. We're doing the TikTok. I have my browsers up, my Discord. There's only so much things I can add to it before it starts lagging significantly. So once I get this new laptop, which went up $600, When Donald Trump started the war in Iran, or started back up the war in Iran after the MOU failed, literally went up $600, we will have a lot less of these issues, because then I can use the mixer that I paid for, that I have the license for. We'll be able to stream to Twitch and Instagram alongside YouTube and TikTok. And then I can just leave everything else on this other computer. So yeah. So you guys know about that. We've talked about this before. You guys know about like the thing in your Amazon cart where it will tell you and give you updates on the price changes and the things you have on the cart. That's what I use to keep up with prices, actually. It's a great tool. Like I would suggest if you're you have an Amazon account, just put random shit in your cart. Look at how much the price goes up, specifically after Trump announces and denounces and all these different things. Look how much the price goes up. I track that shit every day because this is the computer that I'm getting. And I literally saw MOU failed. We started bombing them again. Within hours, shot up. Shut up. That shit pissed me off, bro. That shit pissed me off. So all you guys going, oh, everything's gotten better under Trump. By what fucking metric? The Trump administration is more hateful. The Trump administration is better propagandists at making you guys feel like things are better. When you actually look at the numbers, the fuck are we doing? The best they have is their 401k. Shout out to Neely. Shout out to Neely the Vampire Slayer over on the YouTube side. Thank you so much for becoming a member of the Tube. Thank you so much for your support in that regard. I appreciate you. Please make sure you're checking out all the perks that comes with that membership. Please make sure you're checking out those perks and utilize them. All members or TikTok subscribers or Discord subscribers, you do get a permanent discount code off of all merch in the shop that you can use whenever you want. TikTokers specifically get a mano a mano perk. So whenever we get ops, which is, rare nowadays, you get 5 minutes to address them uninterrupted alongside several other things. So make sure you know your perks. Appreciate you guys giving me your money. Fuck tariffs and war. Yeah. Amazon has terrible laptops. Amazon is a platform that sells laptops from different companies. You can get one from wherever. I'm getting a laptop. I know I say computer. I'm getting a laptop because I need something portable. Because last few trips where I've traveled or I've been on a plane or whatever, I'm like, damn, this would be great if I was able to work on videos and shit while I was here. So yeah, I am specifically getting a laptop. You can probably build a PC cheaper than a laptop. Oh, I know I can. I just want a laptop. I know I can. Everything you guys are about to say, I already know. I just want what I want. And I'm very picky about what I want. Appreciate y'all, but trust me, I know what I want, and I'm getting what I want. I'm a bougie ass nigga. When it comes to my technology, I'm a bougie ass nigga. I have my taste. I do my reviews. Got it. I get all that covered. Alrighty, so here's what we're gonna do, because literally in 20 minutes, it's going to officially make the 3 hour mark that we've been live. That's usually the minimum, the maximum that I go by, or try to go by, especially when we don't have anyone calling in. So like, I'm not waiting here because the live, the movie night is in 55 minutes. And my plan was, as usual, we go live until the movie night and then we just raid. We just go straight to the Discord and we watch the movie. But if you're in the Discord, for one, I'm going to tag everyone. I'm going to automatically tag you so you'll know when we start the movie night. And that's what we're going to do, because I'm not waiting around. We've hit 3 hours and yeah, they're scared, bro. W's in the chat to Wesley for the $5 super chat. Hi, Hector. Love seeing you online. Much love as always. Good luck in the laptop hunt. Not hunting. I know what I want. It's just the price went up. That's all. Did I miss Sister Act 1? No. So, Jesse, Sister Act 1 is tonight. Sister Act 2 is tomorrow night. Yeah, you're good. Sister Act 1 is tonight, literally within 55 minutes. And then Sister Act 2 is tomorrow night. That's what we're doing. So, friendly reminder, if you're in the Discord, just make sure you have your mentions turned on, because so many of you turned your notifications off. Have your mentions turned on, so that way you'll know when I tag everyone. If you're not going to do that, literally within 55 minutes or 7:15 p.m. CST, not EST, CST. That's when the movies are gonna start. I'm getting an Apple. I'm getting an Apple. I like being able to check my text. I like the integration between FaceTime and so many different apps. I like the power on it. Some other ideas that I have. Because I already have the mixer for it. I already paid for that license and everything else. I'm just used to Apple. I could get it cheaper if I did Windows. I can get it even more cheaper if I built the computer. Well, not a laptop. I'm not building no fucking laptop. But I can get it cheaper if I did a Windows laptop. But I like what I like. I like what I like. The integration is huge. I miss that so much. That's basically so before I had an iPhone, let me be super duper clear. I was one of those fuck Apple kind of people. I was one of those fuck Apple kind of people. I just wasn't I never denied their camera quality, the smoothness of how all the integration works, but one thing that I'll do this. I'll name the things that I still miss to this day about Android that iPhones can't touch. Google Assistant. Google Assistant is superior to Siri. I said what I said. Google Assistant is superior to Siri, and I can only imagine it got so much better since the last time I used it on my Pixel 6 Pro Android. Superior. I like that when it comes to more development shit, you obviously have that option on Android versus iPhone. You get what you get. I guess with both, when it comes to updates, most updates will slow down your shit over time. But iPhones are pretty good with security, I guess. Specifically if you're using Safari for browsing, it's really good at that. I use Chrome for everything, so whatever. Trying to think of what else I really miss. Certain features and customization. Customization is a big one. The customization I can do on my home screen with the widgets, the different apps, iPhone can't compare. You get that one fucking flat format, and you can only change it if you jailbreak it. So yeah, all of those reasons is why ultimately I do miss Android for those key things. But for everything else that I do, I got so used to FaceTime. I got so used to iMessages. I do like the camera quality is basically guaranteed with every single iPhone you get versus having to go decide between a Galaxy and then this one and then that one. So yeah. Now when it comes to Windows and Mac, this is my first Mac. Computers I've had before were always Windows, and I do prefer a lot of things on how it works on here, but there's also other things that annoys me. For example, when I uninstall something off of a Windows, everything goes with the file. This is the first computer that I've had, this little Mac Mini here, first computer that I've had where I have to uninstall an app and then there's still specific fucking files that I have to go in and manually delete. That's what happened with the old mixer that I was using. To where I would uninstall the app thinking it get rid of everything, and then I reinstall it so I can set up the settings, but it would keep the same settings because it wouldn't delete all these stupid little files. And I'm like, if I uninstall the app, take everything with the app. Me having to manually go in and remove all that pissed me off. That pissed me off. Yeah, but I got used to it now. That's the thing. I got used to it, and I'm not good with change. I'm not good with change. Like the way I see it, I get this laptop, it's just open and go. I do not want to go have to figure out new windows. I don't want to do it. You know how much time I spent already doing this research to tell you guys the things that I do, editing my videos, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to deal with the learning curve right now. The only thing I miss about iOS is the Procreate app. See, I've never used that. I'm mad because I have Android and we're made to use Google Messages. Yeah. PAP is why I like Android. Jesse, hold on. Jesse. iPhone has POP. iPhone has POP. Did you not know that? Yeah, iPhone has POP. I'll literally be doing other things while I'm watching someone's TikTok live, while I'm watching a YouTube video and several other platforms. Yeah, iPhone has PIP. And that's picture in picture. Those of you who didn't know, this little small icon that allows you to swipe out of an app, a streaming app or whatever, and you can still watch it from the home screen or other applications. That's called PIP, picture in picture display. Yeah. Yeah. iPhones have been having that. Absolutely. I legit wouldn't have an iPhone if it didn't. I want to make that super duper clear. The amount I use that fucking feature, I would not have an iPhone if it was gone. That's crazy. What a stupid comment. How come all Democrat supporters have nothing better to do than stay on live? Obviously not every Democrat supporter goes live. The ones that do it some for fun. This is my little job. I'm on the clock right now. I make money to do this while you just stay broke in the comments. Yeah, that's sad. W's in the chat to Phoenix for the $5 super chat. Nah, fuck Apple. I'll debate that one. Hardware is nice, but ecosystem is trash. Ooh. 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 Yes, you do have to have YouTube Premium for PIP. Wait, hold on. Are you saying you have POP all the time on Android? No. Hold on. Actually, we'll test this right now. I'll go to my live right now, and I'll test this. Ecosystem is trash. That's an interesting take. I don't know about that one. Wait, what do we mean by ecosystem specifically? I just want to be clear. Okay, so here on my Android, I'm on my Hector Talks account. I have PIP without premium. I guess you're saying on iPhone you have to? I can't test that. Because my iPhone is what's... Oh, that's another thing. Here's a big reason why I'm keeping on Mac. So those of you who did not know this, guess what my camera is right now? I did not spend thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars and an additional hundreds on a lens and a camera and a lens. This is my iPhone camera that I'm using right now. I am able to literally plug it up through a cord, and I can even do it wirelessly. And my iPhone camera is what I've been using for streams. That feature is very fucking nice. And it takes away from me having to go spend hundreds, and knowing my ass, thousands of dollars on a camera. And it's not even at full quality. This is 720p because my computer is not going to handle 720p streaming at 60 frames per second. The second I upgrade, I can use the full quality of the camera. So I like that. How? It's just their integration. So like literally for FaceTime, when I'm hooked up to my computer, straight from there. I'm using my rear camera, not the webcam, of course. It's nice. I can't PIP on YouTube on iPhone. What kind of iPhone do you have? You probably need to turn it on. on YouTube. Sometimes that setting can be off, but I'm pretty sure it's there. Unless you have an iPhone 6.5. I don't know what else to tell you. Google owns YouTube, so you don't need premium to use PIP on Android. I'm going to test that. That's actually crazy. Now, I've always had premium because I hate ads. I fucking hate ads. On most of the shit that I own, if there's an ad-free option, I pay for it because I can't stand ads. Especially when those ads start to be political. You know how frustrating it is to see these GOP nuts in my shit? Absolutely not. You don't need premium on iPhone either. It lets me without it. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure I've used PIP without it. I think what you guys are thinking of is maybe music? Nuts and shit? Hold on. Don't leave out the context. Phil. What are you doing? Don't do that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Riley. I think you guys literally need to just go turn it on. Just go turn on the option. You got to go to, because it happened on my Android even once where an update came and then it turned off. And I knew it was working before, so I went to my settings and I turned it on. Or sometimes it just glitches and just turning it on and back off or off and back on. Yeah, that'll bring it back. For me, it's not consistent. I'll swipe out and maybe it'll keep playing, maybe it won't. Yeah, sometimes that's a whole thing. That's just a glitch. Happens to everyone. Yeah, that's all. Google is doing that thing where you won't be able to install non-Google Play Store apps in September. You have to enable it in developer mode and wait 24 hours. Oh, yikes. Oh, yikes. Did I never pin this? Whoopsie. Thank you, Wesley. That's the beauty of Android. I don't need to pay for YouTube Premium to not have ads on YouTube. Excuse me? I'm sorry, how the fuck else do you get no ads on YouTube without YouTube Premium? Alpha, why are you lying? Alpha, why are you lying? Why are you lying? I don't believe you. Ad blocker? Like an additional app? Don't use YouTube? Well, if we're using an ad blocker and we're using a completely separate app, then of course you can do that on iPhone as well. Oh my God, y'all stressing me out. Y'all stressing me out, man. Y'all stressing me out. Y'all are stressing me out. Let's see. Who's this? How do you not have the right role in here? It's an overpriced walled garden. Yes, we're aware. When you're buying any iOS products, any Mac products, you are paying for an experience. The experience often has good hardware, but to be clear, there are hundreds of dollars additionally that you're paying solely based off the experience. We know. We know. We know. Alrighty, let's at least knock out these roses. Let's at least knock out these roses before we call it a quits. And we'll be back tomorrow, roughly around the same time. Friendly reminder, tomorrow, once again, that the movie night is going to be scheduled for 7:15 p.m. CST, and that's when we'll be watching The Sister Act 2. Literally within, let's see, 42 minutes. In 42 minutes, we will be in the Discord watching The Sister Act, so I'm going to go eat me something before that starts.
God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm going to eat me something before that starts, and I'll catch y'all over there. I will be tagging everyone. If not, just check your time. Make sure you know your time zones and know the difference between EST, CST, and PST, and I'll see y'all in there. It's going to be great. We haven't had a movie night in a minute, so it's going to be good. Those of you who want to be a part of the movie night, please make sure you, thank you. Please make sure you check the link in the description on the live stream or the link in the bio on my TikTok. When you click on the Discord icon, it's going to show you an invite. If the invite gives you an issue in TikTok's,
God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for clearing that. If it gives you an issue with TikTok's internal browser, open it up in your browser. For the most part, I suggest you open up the link in your browser. When you click on the Discord icon, it's going to automatically take you to the Discord, answer the questions. Bam, you're in. Bam, you're in. It's very simple. Anyone who has an issue with that, please address Ahmad, or if you're on TikTok, you could just message my account. I'll check my filtered, I promise. I'll check my filtered. With that being said, few of us in here still, so let me see who we can raid on YouTube. Let's see who we can raid on YouTube. Ari! We're going to raid Ari. Also, I'm kind of chuckling at myself internally because all it took is demolishing the first guest that we had and everyone else got chicken shit. I think that's fucking hysterical. Sometimes I wonder if I'm too good at this for my own good. Not the African raid now. We're about to leave. God damn it. Not the African raid now. We were just ending. We were just ending. We were just ending, bro. African Raiders. We've had one guest for 3 hours. The very first guest that came up absolutely cooked him. He couldn't prove anything, and every single person after that got scared. So, yeah. We have a movie night, African Raiders, in the Discord that we got to get ready for. I got to get ready for because I got to eat. So, shout out to y'all. Shout out to the Raiders, but we gone, bro. Definitely send a chat to Devin for the $2 super chat just because. I appreciate you, Devin. Alrighty, I set you guys on YouTube to raid Ari's live, so when you guys get in there, make sure you say Hector raid. Once again, those of you who's going to be watching us or watching the Discord movie with us, I'll see you then. And those of you who want to join, check out the link in the description of the stream or the bio over here on TikTok. YouTube, thank you so much for your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscriptions, your super chats, your super stickers, your memberships. It all helps a ton. Shout out to some of the hardest working mods on the platform. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way out. And the second I end this live, it's going to automatically take you to Ari's. I'll see y'all. Actually, I won't see y'all over there today.